Life is short. It's ending 1 minute at a time. Why waste it on fulfilling other people's expectations? This is just one of those questions presented in a novel written by Chuck Palahniuk named Fight Club. The film version of Fight Club, directed by David Fincher, starring Brad Pitt, Edward Norton and Helena Bonham Carter, could be considered one of the best and most impactful movies ever made when looking at its reception and ongoing popularity. Fight Club isn't shy of over-the-top violence, contains a fair amount of explicit language and, of course, the obnoxious behavior of its characters. However, it's definitely more profound than just men coming together to beat each other up. The story is built on several thoughtful concepts that are interesting and possibly applicable to our own lives. It tells a story about a generation of people without a clear purpose, without hope, raised with false expectations and repressed by ever-tightening social norms. What if our existence is pointless? What if God doesn't like us? What if we're nothing more than a compost heap? How do we find meaning in a meaningless existence? This video explores several philosophical ideas that Fight Club presents us. For those who aren't familiar with the story, this analysis explains and reveals the plot. The story of Fight Club revolves around three main characters. It's told from a first-person perspective by a nameless character that's commonly called the narrator, who has a dead-end white-collar job at a major car company and has fallen prey to what he calls the IKEA nesting instinct. Dictated by social norms, he walks perfectly in line like a docile sheep, which translates into an inauthentic, repetitive and empty life. He suffers from a bad case of insomnia, which causes him to be neither fully awake nor fully asleep. Sometimes he entertains self-destructive thoughts. As he flies around from state to state for his job, he prays for a crash or mid-air collision every time the plane banks too sharply on takeoff or landing. During a flight, he meets an eccentric and hyper-masculine character named Tyler Durden. Tyler seems to be the direct opposite of the narrator. He's a wolf rather than a sheep, disentangled from society and impervious to social norms. He takes what he wants without asking and whenever he pleases. He's self-sufficient, has no superiors and doesn't care about the material possessions. The movie later reveals that Tyler and the narrator are the same person, as Tyler is a product of the narrator's imagination that's probably induced by severe insomnia combined with dissatisfaction with a dull, meaningless existence and a lifetime of repressed urges. The narrator is addicted to going to support groups for specific illnesses because these give him the opportunity to cry, which seems to be a remedy for his insomnia. The downside of his behavior is that he isn't genuine. He has no testicular cancer or blood parasites, yet acts as if he does, so he can reap the benefits of these sessions. But these benefits come to an end when another non-genuine visitor starts to join the sessions as well. This is a woman named Marla Singer, and her motive for joining these sessions is, and I quote, "It's cheaper than a movie and there's free coffee." Marla is a self-destructive, chain-smoking fatalist who is expecting to die at any moment, but finds it tragic that it never happens. She steals food and clothes for a living and attempts suicide by overdosing Xanax. Even though the narrator, Tyler, and Marla have totally different personalities, they all live their lives, accompanied by a nihilistic undercurrent. Tyler seems to have figured out what causes this emptiness, and during the course of the story, his solution unfolds. Unfortunately, his character slides from a sage-like father figure to an anarchist terrorist who is out to destroy modern civilization. Nevertheless, he exposes a series of harsh realities about modern life that are worth contemplating. The anti-consumerist stance of Tyler Durden becomes obvious when he verbalizes his concern about a modern way of life. Shortly after the narrator meets Tyler, he discovers that his apartment went up in flames. After this unfortunate event, realizing that he has no friends to call, he calls Tyler. The two meet, and a narrator complains about losing his furniture and his respectable and almost complete wardrobe. Tyler responds rather indifferently and slightly sarcastically before he begins to express his views on the matter. I quote, "We're consumers. We are byproducts of a lifestyle obsession. Murder, crime, poverty, these things don't concern me. What concerns me are celebrity magazines, television with 500 channels, some guy's name on my underwear, Rogaine, Viagra, Olestra." End quote. It becomes clear that Tyler has quite an unconventional view of what's good and bad. Murder, crime and poverty are generally considered bad things, while consumer goods like televisions, clothing from a certain brand, products that help to hide aging, enhance bedroom performance and help us with weight loss are considered preferable. Tyler has a contempt for the artificial, as opposed to elements that have been a natural part of the human condition, probably as long as we exist. This way of thinking touches upon an ancient Cynic philosopher named Diogenes of Sinope, who believed that modern civilized life hinders our natural state. At the end of the movie, it appears that the narrator has destroyed his apartment himself when he was taken over by his alter ego, Tyler Durden. This deed was the first step onto the road of detachment from his property into a more authentic way of life, and to, how Tyler puts it, reject the basic assumptions of civilization, especially the importance of material possessions. The narrator moves in with Tyler, who lives in a dilapidated house with ongoing leaks, power failures, and no IKEA furniture. Slowly but surely, the narrator indeed detaches from his previously destroyed property. Things you own end up owning you, Tyler tells him. And this simple piece of wisdom probably hits home when the narrator realizes that he doesn't need all these worldly goods and is actually much happier without them. Tyler Durden is a nonconformist and shows, again, similarities with Diogenes, who not only purposefully lived in poverty, but also rejected social norms. For him, social constructs are nothing more than a superficial layer of culture that represses our true nature. Diogenes lived in a barrel. Tyler lives in an abandoned building. Diogenes urinated in public. Tyler urinates in the soup of a restaurant. Diogenes bit his opponents like a dog. Tyler salivates over them using his own blood. The narrator, on the other hand, seems to be the embodiment of conformity, as he adapts his lifestyle completely to societal expectations. The problem with this behavior is that we dedicate our existence walking the paths that people other than ourselves have laid out for us. This need to conform, this fear of falling by the wayside, this sickly preoccupation by what others think of us, this necessity to keep up with the Joneses. What an exhausting way of life, just to feel accepted. So, what if we stop caring? What if we reject the generally accepted norms and choose our own values, elect our own leaders, determine our own goals, regardless of the social expectations? This is a fundamental difference between the narrator and Tyler Durden, who puts it like this: "I am free in all the ways that you are not." Ironically, later on in the story, Project Mayhem, a terrorist organization led by Tyler that grows out of Fight Club, is a textbook example of conformity, as its members wear the same clothes, are absolutely equal, abolish their names, and are referred to as space monkeys that sacrifice their lives for a greater cause. We could say that by rejecting one doctrine in order to be nonconformist, we often imprison ourselves in another one. Fighting and the experience of pain play a significant role in Fight Club. At the beginning of the story, Tyler asks the narrator to hit him as hard as he can. He explains his strange wish by saying, "How can you know yourself if you've never been in a fight? I don't want to die without any scars." End quote. So the narrator hits him, Tyler hits him back, and the two engage in a fist fight. Both seem to feel surprisingly pleasant afterward and decide to do it again. Their nightly activities on a parking lot attract the attention of other men that are also interested in joining these non-hostile fistfights, and thus Fight Club is born. It's widely known that voluntary exposure to certain forms of pain make us stronger in the face of adversity, which could be a legit reason to partake in these fights. As the narrator states, after fighting everything else in your life, got the volume turned down. However, Fight Club is more than just a metaphor for dealing with hardship through exposure. A physical fight and the violence and aggression that goes with it resonates with the primal part of our being. Not only the men in the story are attracted to the violence of fighting. Fight Club as a movie and novel was so impactful on its audience that real-life fight clubs started to emerge. The story shows an experiment in which the members of Fight Club pick fights with random strangers and are supposed to lose, which isn't as easy as it sounds. Most people do everything to avoid physical conflict. Now, this video is in no way intended to endorse violence, but Fight Club makes us wonder if it's a good thing that we've lost touch with these primal tendencies. Should we repress this part of human nature or perhaps integrate it in healthy and constructive ways? When the story progresses, Tyler and the narrator begin to see the world through a different lens. Tyler criticizes the modern self-improvement hype by saying, "Self-improvement is masturbation, now self-destruction." This statement is slightly confusing, as the increasingly destructive nature of Fight Club, where faces are permanently mutilated and teeth are knocked out of people's heads, doesn't seem to be a sustainable way to live. But Tyler might be onto something when we look at self-destruction as the destruction of a false self. Self-improvement often points to the accumulation of external goods, a better house, a better job, a better body, more money. But why should we endlessly want to improve ourselves? Why can't we just be happy with how things are and take life as it comes? Or as Tyler states, "I say never be complete. I say stop being perfect. I say let's evolve. Let the chips fall where they may." End quote. We create an identity through material wealth and social status. And as far as Tyler is concerned, this false sense of self must be destroyed before we are free to do anything we want. Therefore, Project Mayhem's Space Monkeys live by a mantra which goes like this: "You are not your job. You're not how much money you have in the bank. You are not the car you drive. You're not the contents of your wallet. You're not your khakis. You are all singing, all dancing crap of the world." End quote. Tyler makes a so-called human sacrifice, namely a man called Raymond who works a dead-end job in a convenience store. Raymond wanted to be a veterinarian, but didn't make it because it was quote-unquote too much studying. Tyler threatens Raymond, saying that if he doesn't start studying within 6 weeks, he'll kill him. In this scene, Tyler points to another aspect of self-destruction, the act of letting go of fears, negative self-talk, and all distractions, so we can fully focus on our purpose. It's the destruction of everything within ourselves that holds us back from living life on our own terms. Many people go great lengths when it comes to pain avoidance. The problem is that running from pain means running from an inevitable part of life. The prospect of incurring pain makes us anxious and often leads to hedonistic decisions, that is, choosing the less painful path, even if a more painful path guarantees more success and pleasure in the future. Tyler Durden deals with this by inflicting a chemical wound on the narrator's hand using a lie. As expected, the narrator does everything to escape the pain. He uses visualization techniques he learned at a seminar and retreating in his cave to find his quote-unquote power animal. But Tyler slaps him in the face, forcing him to stay with the pain, saying, "This is the greatest moment of your life, man, and you're off somewhere missing it." End quote. For the narrator, Tyler has one central goal: he must reach bottom. After putting him through suffering and destroying his false identity, there's yet another aspect that must be crushed: hope. Losing all hope is freedom, and therefore he must reject what has rejected him, his father and God. I quote, "Consider the possibility that God does not like you. In all probability, he hates you." End quote. Tyler states that we don't need God, that we shouldn't care about redemption and damnation, and if we're God's unwanted children, so be it. Thereby, we lose all hope, but are also liberated from religious doctrine and fatherly authority. Now we're truly free. Now we can create our own meaning and live how we want to live. Tyler emphasizes the importance of knowing what we want in life. To achieve this, we must be willing to get out of our comfort zone and jump into the unknown without safety brackets. The narrator, however, has difficulties letting go of security. He begs Tyler to not mess around when he lets go of the steering wheel in a driving car while hitting the gas. Tyler calls the narrator pathetic and yells, "Hitting bottom isn't a weekend retreat. It's not a goddamn seminar. Stop trying to control everything and just let go." After an inevitable car crash, Tyler states that they just had a near-life experience. Fight Club is a story about rebellion against the status quo and a plea for the simple life. It criticizes the ways in which we are so hung up on security and material possessions, and how people let social norms dictate their lives. Stuff has become our religion. The idols we worship are IKEA and Starbucks. And the more we immerse ourselves in such an empty and unfulfilling existence, the more we start to resemble the things that we produce, manufactured products, rather than authentic human beings. Tyler shows us a way out, and even though his insights are profound, the execution is questionable. Fight Club and its terrorist branch Project Mayhem show us how easy it is to oppose one ideology in order to fall into another, and how a cult-like echo chamber built on rigid beliefs could become very destructive. Nevertheless, Tyler challenges us to be self-sufficient and disobedient to the authorities that let us down, to live authentically and in the moment, to confront our fears, to boldly step out of our comfort zones and let the things that don't matter truly slide. Thank you for watching.
Are you crying? Are you crying? Are you crying? There's no crying. There's no crying in foosball.
You fucking cried after 3 days in the fucking holding tank. Looked like a fucking pile of wet rags at court. You should see how I showed up to court after 3 days in the box with the light on.
Please, is there anything I can do, sir? Please.
Does he look like a bitch? What?
Don't do this to my wife, man. You don't know what you're doing to my family, man.
Does he look like a bitch?
Sir, please don't make me sleep in jail tonight, sir, please. I'm begging you.
We're not criminals.
They're gonna make me sleep in jail.
Continue. You were saying something about best intentions?
Josh has never been arrested for recording.
Okay, so that's him getting arrested, and then his friend here makes a phone call that I want to touch on.
Hey, who the fuck you think you're talking to, huh? You wanna fuck? Who the fuck you think I am? You fucking dumb boy? Come on, brother. Do you wanna go to war? Come on. Do you wanna go to war? We'll take you to war, okay?
This is an arduous task. You need discipline and will. There's nothing fucking guaranteed. That's called being a man in life. Where else in life do you get fucking guarantees exactly? Can you find something in life being a fucking man that you get a guarantee over and isn't worth doing because it's difficult, testing, challenging, and requires something of a motherfucker to get it done? Where are we at here? Seriously, what fucking realm am I in? Bunch of inauthentic corporate beta males who want to just say shit that makes no sense and avoid the inherent hierarchical power and value systems, meaning and purpose and principles written into the cosmos and the fabric of reality, one with self, in conscience. Would you please stop? We're done. I'm done with you. If I can see you and know you, the damn universe and whatever runs it can see you and know you, and it's doling out as we speak. I'm saying you got to bang it out sometime. I'm saying you got to go to a box sometime. I'm saying you got to put some shit on record and surrender in faith and not know where it's going to end up. That's the whole point of doing what I do. Because nothing is guaranteed. It's called cosmic gambling, you bitch-ass motherfucker. And you wouldn't know nothing about it because fortune favors the bold. And you're not fortunate. You're an unfortunate slave. I can tell by looking at you. That's why we're in slavery and genocide, because weak fucking bitch-ass males create hard times. Go ask the Hopis who prophesied that. Don't argue with me. They're supposed to hate. If they ain't hating, right, then we ain't doing what's true and what's right. How many motherfuckers you think were hating on the Christed being in Scripture for walking around like he had a pair? For telling everybody and their mother and brother, you better hate your own father and mother if necessary to ride with this God in truth. They forget how that being was walking around telling them, you're a status fucking infidel slime, and so are they, and you better come out of her, my people, or we're all going into judgment. You folks still haven't figured out the only reason I got to this point is because I abolished my ego and aligned with universal law completely. What you perceive as ego is your ego and narcissism you're projecting onto me. I've killed off my false sense of lower self to unite with a higher sense of self to do what needs to be done for all of us. That's the absence of ego, not the abundance of it. Projecting fuck slaves. The egotistical, narcissistic ones are the ones who haven't done what I've done yet and continue to not do it because their fear runs their life. They're not faithful in truth. They're afraid of the damn truth, and they run the opposite direction into the arms of their captors, right? Or into a purgatorial state of delusion. Either way, same outcome, unactualized, unrealized, spiritually dead, back to the recycling pit for you. See if we can get it in the next slide. Testing. We're back at Unslaved headquarters. We got a slave already in the chat. Come on up. The link is there. There's also a phone number if you want to call in. 602-730-0122. Yeah, I'm open to it. We got some sovereign citizen news today. Australia apparently confiscating some guns and canceling some permits. And I wonder why I say it's laughable to try to play into the system on any level and ask permission to do anything. If you want to start there and give these officials notice, right, and require that they uphold the law of the land and do their proper duties, right, engage in their proper duties and obligations, which would be as civil servants to uphold our rights, whether that's a pursuit of happiness idea or a private property idea, if we want to quote elements of the supposed contractual constitution, codified natural law, as it were. But yeah, Lucas, come on up. I don't know how you folks get this. Well, I do because a lot of you play into the left-right paradigm. The majority does, right? So if I'm not sucking Trump boot and calling him daddy and saying I want him to run my life, then I must be a liberal, right? If I don't want Mama Kamala to run my life, then I must be a Republicard, right? Proving that you guys in mass on both sides can't see past, think past, or speak past a dualistic dynamic where you're controlled, deceived, in denial, you're disempowered as a result of it, and you're misdirected, you're misinformed and misunderstood, right? And so you misspeak with regularity. But again, it's part of why we do this broadcast. Is the Constitution a corporate charter? Could be seen that way. One way that you could see it. Again, a lot of this legalistic framework is open to interpretation. That's what makes it so insidious and potentially disempowering. A contract is only as good as the minds who find a meeting within that contractual framework, right? So if you have a phrase such as the right to bear arms shall not be infringed, and that somehow gets interpreted as we're going to require everybody on a supposed free country to petition their civil servants to ask them for permission and permits in order to engage in these rights, then your rights are already gone, ladies and gentlemen. You've already gave them up because you got to ask permission from your civil servants in order to engage in them, right? So what good is a supposed meeting of the minds or a corporatized contract or even a non-corporatized contract of sorts if we can't retain those natural rights and uphold that foundational law of the land / universal law? And, you know, some folks on Facebook will say, yeah, universal law, that doesn't exist, Polly boy. Well, it kind of does, right? You're just so fucking dense and in your own way that you can't go within and discover that every one of us has a conscience. Every one of us has a free spirit. Imagine that. Imagine the idea of us all having a conscience and a free spirit, right? Like at our core, you know, true heart-based intelligence. And it says, it reveals to us that no other man or woman has a right to tell us what to do, absent some loss, injury, or harm, potentially. I'll meet you in the middle. Absent some loss, injury, harm, or direct threat to the public, or even a debt owed, right? If you can't meet those criterias, but see, this is how they creep in on you. They understand the they, the it, the lucha fede, as I've described, that potentially lives within all of us. You know, the dark side of the force. It presents these ideas in ways that make it plausible for us to overwrite that law of the land and that universal law, right? So I'll give you a quick example I have many times before. This idea for safety, right? So, you know, clause in the Constitution, I believe, 10th through 14th Amendment, public safety clauses, go back and check it. I don't have it memorized, far from it. My percentages are a little bit better than most. You know, you got a lot of people running around quoting the Constitution, my Constitution, my Constitution. They don't even know what's in there. Okay. So I'm not a party to it. I didn't sign it. I didn't swear to it. The agents have, so you can bind them with it. But what will they do? They'll amend it. The inauthentic corporate males, they'll get together in their groups, they'll amend it, and they'll put in there ideas of public safety clauses, right? And then they'll just look around at every person who's got a splinter or a hangnail or, you know, doesn't have their property regulated to the infinite degree. And they'll say, oop, that's a threat to safety right there. So we're going to get an inroad into regulating you, right? And that's how this has all been working for the longest time. So what good, again, is a piece of paper with a supposed contract on it and a meeting of the minds that's heavily amended after the fact that you didn't sign and aren't a party to and you don't swear to? At best, or at worst, they swear to it, the civil servants. So if you're lucky or if you're pretty good at what you do, you can potentially use part of it to bind them to their duties and obligations. But again, the heavily amended aspects of it make it almost impossible to keep this force that manifests as government. Keith called me the other day and he tried to argue with me, and I got a little bit passionate with him. Said government doesn't mean mind control, Paulie boy. I had to pull up the Latin etymology for him. It was right there. Governare or govern mente, mind, control mind. So again, not a coincidence that the majority of the public population worldwide, as the scripture says, are in the hands of the dark one, because their minds and hearts are controlled by inauthentic corporate males who use policy and code to direct the whole of society. And it doesn't matter if you give them the last 5 years experience of lockdowns and bullshit stimulus and deals with Pfizer and Fauci and Billy Boy, and the abolishing of small business, which was already on its way to being abolished, right? Because that's what the lockdown was driving a whole bunch of people out of their livelihood and out of their business so that big business institutionalization can take over, because when you're in fascism, it's the merger of state and corporate power. So why shouldn't Amazon and Bezos and SlaveLink, Elon, and all the rest of them quadruple their profits while many mom and pop small business goes under, right? But feel free to come here and tell me all about how I'm a liberal tard. That's you. See? Because one of the tenets of neoliberalism is collectivism. One of the offshoots of it is Marxism, as we've gone over here ad infinitum. I do this broadcast not only to entertain me and the Unslavians, but to wisen up you chumps. Even though I come from a land, I hail from New York, and they say, they have a phrase there, never give a sucker an even break and never smarten up a chump. At least if you ask Jimmy Cagney, right? In between screaming, top of the world, ma. You know, never give a sucker an even break, never smarten up a chump. That's how your corporate government deals with you. So I'm a lot nicer, kinder, politer than your average corporate governance that you vote for and pay for, even though I call you a slaved out dunce from time to time. I still give you the game, right? They don't give you the game. They obfuscate the game so they can better misdirect you and control you. So let's go ahead and get right to it. I could, you know me, I could loop and cycle and go right down the list. Did I get to the fact? I don't think I finished my sentence. If I have a recall here, let me pick back up where I was, and then we'll go back over there. So the offshoot of neoliberalism would be collectivism, and one of the synonymous aspects of that collectivism would be Marxism, and one of the tenets of Marxism would be the abolition of private property and natural rights on some level, even potentially the law of a nationalistic land, dare I use that term, or a republic, as some have said. You know, a lot of these words are there's a dualistic meaning, right? Because that's how this place works. Just when you think you have an understanding of what it is and you're living it, this thing comes along to try to get you to see it in a different light. And that can be great. That can be very dangerous if we don't have an understanding of who and what we are and what this place is at the core of our beingness, right? So you all ready there for the guy who came here, the Trump tard, the patriot tard? You're too busy watching David Rodriguez and Chile de Castro and all the rest of the fraudulent, in name only mouthpieces on here that do a lot of yapping but don't actually stand for anything. And when the time comes for them to do civil disobedience and activism, they clam right up. They crawl into the fetal position and say, Mama, Dada, someone come save me. Someone come help me. God helps those who help themselves. You've completely neglected your position as a man in culture and in society and in community. You've completely neglected the idea of true leadership. Why? Because they promised you some money and numbers. Isn't that always the case with the lucha fede? I love that term. I made it up. I don't know if that's actually what they call it in Italy, but I seem to remember that. If not, then I just made it up. You know, sometimes I got to switch it up for some novelty. So this is a spiritual dynamic, first and foremost. It's the idea of unadulterated, purified consciousness and awareness through conscionability and a core value system, right? An inspiration, in spirit, that is not put there by us. It's put there by whoever, whatever made this place. We simply discover it and do it or not. And most people will probably never discover it. If they do discover it, many are now discovering it, they're not going to do it. Because, see, that dark side of the force, that deceiver has convinced them, no, public slaves, you don't want to stand up and step out. You don't want to put yourself in harm's way. You want to stay safe and comfortable. You want to get them numbers and appeal to the mass. You want mass appeal, right? When you're on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect. You want big money and contracts and sponsorships, right? You want to be the cosmic child who never grows up and grows into manhood. You just want to stay a child forever and be taken care of by your state, your nanny state. And you want to get a trophy too and get some attention and be accepted and liked. Be popular. We want to do popularity contests. What does it gain a man if he receive the world and lose his soul in the process? This isn't just fucking quotables. This is what we live our life by or not. And if we don't, then we will suffer the consequences. And the judgment is already here. taking place as we speak. The revelation and the liberation is already here, taking place as we speak. And it's always a bit of this, a bit of that. The paradox must be resolved, walking the middle way. So I get it. Comfort, safety, a great thing. Comfort, safety at the risk of losing our soul and deactivating our conscience to go along to get along while they mislead us and misdirect us into a proverbial metaphorical slaughterhouse. Doubtful as far as an empowering, inspiring, co-creative state of beingness. Are you African American? It wouldn't be complete if I didn't come here today to loop on some level and the folks didn't show up to do the same. Thank you for being here. You are just more proof that this is a holographic reflective simulation, and literally we all play our parts day after day. Different face, potentially a different name. Even a lot of the names are the same. You go back in history, you find out a lot of the faces are the same. What is this place? Fascinating, isn't it? See? Holographic, mirrored, reflective, quantum physical reality, where all things are connected, all beings are actors on a world stage, whether they're aware of it or not, playing out their part. And then on some level, like, because this is all unconscious, right? On the conscious level, you get to start to look back at yourself and go, oh my God, who or what am I, or who or what is working through me to create the results that I call my life? Doesn't seem like it's completely my ideal all the time. This is where my father used to say, Paul, what are you talking about? In between bringing me to asylums, telling me I was sick and crazy. He said, what are you talking about, Paul? We're all our own people. What are you? You're going to insult me? I don't have my own mind and heart? No, you don't. If you did, you wouldn't have voted for George Bush and Donnie Trump and all the rest of the clowns, like every other clown like you, who wears the same knee-high white socks and the same New Balance and the same dad shorts and all the rest of it. You ain't your own person with your own mind and your own heart. Your fucking actions, your behavior, your results prove it day after day. But in their ignorance, in their pride, in their arrogance, they will stand firmly and proclaim, I am my own person. I do my own will. I have my own mind and heart. You're not, and you don't. Okay, so whenever we're ready here, we're going to do the shadow work. We're going to do the real cosmic holographic reflective therapy. We're going to get honest with ourselves and each other about who or what we are, what works through us, and what the fuck we're creating, whether we want to recognize it or not. Folks are literally building a deceptive, demonic, new world order, beast system matrix for themselves while telling me it was all their idea. Where'd you get these ideas from, pray tell? You just woke up one day and said, I think I'm going to vote for the rest of my life. I think I'm going to play into statute, policy, and code as law. I think I'm going to be a Republitard or a demon rat. Either that or the TV owns you. The media, right? The media. We can go back to the origins of that word. So this is for you out there. The most uninteresting men in the world. Where's my music when I need it? See? Never ready. I need a producer here. What it is. Can't find good help, you know. It's really me because I can't work with anyone or get along with anyone for any extended period of time. Imagine why. On both ends, imagine why. There we go. Do you vote? Do you pay slave tax? Do you think statute, policy, and code is law? You wear New Balance shoes and knee-high white socks. You go along to get along with slavery and tyranny and then blame your children when they try to awaken you. Well, then you are the most uninteresting, disempowered man in the world. Then we cut to, I don't always do slavery, but when I do, I take pharmaceuticals and drink Dos Equis. Stay slaved out, my friends. All right, cut. You're going to get a hold of me at some point. There's got to be a place for me, you know? There's a place for Jim Carrey up there. There's got to be a place for me. One day, I can dream, can't I? That may be my next transitional arc, right? I just go and cut commercials all day, every day. You know, I could have been a contender. Okay, enough of that. Why is he free? Right. It's always good to stomp your feet and bang your hands and ask, why is he free? He won't follow statute, policy, and code. He's had numerous gun charges. Hell, mushrooms and all the rest of it on one of them. We should go over that one day. I keep saying I'm going to, but I just don't care. That's really for the benefit of the losers and the haters and the failures who want to speculate on my track record. And again, I thank them because they just give me an opportunity, if I choose, to go over the record and to inspire people to do and be and have better. Okay? That's all that really is. You know, make them realize that they don't have to go along to get along, and that code, policy, and statute is not their law, and that even if you comply at some point, they're going to bring the pain to you. You're not getting out of this without choosing, right? That should be obvious by now, you would think. Okay, questions, comments, concerns. Please don't fill the chat with meanderings and social engagements. You know, take that somewhere else. Primarily, the chat is for questions, comments, concerns, and/or historical narrative. That's what I would prefer, and I'm going to loosely hold you folks to that. I was just checking in to say hello real quick. I got some stuff going on right now, but would be down to come up later. Okay, Joshua. Joshua, an inspiring man. Why? Because when he first came on here, like all of us, you know, he's not a professional. He's not certified. He doesn't have a degree. He's even missing some teeth. The regular old guy, you know, salt of the earth, so to speak. Maybe even a little goofy, a little wacky, a little eccentric. God forbid, you know, we don't worship those people. We don't celebrate those people here on America and in this world. We celebrate billionaire pedophiles who get on TV and say, well, you know what? Let me not ruin it because I think I have it up here. Of course I have it up here. Everything is available. By the way, Donald Trump, we're going to get to, apparently knows more about grass than any other human being. Knows more about everything than every other human being, apparently. Let's go to Senator Ted Cruz. We need a unifying message now more than ever. United States corporations being torn apart from the middle. Some might say that that's all by design to get everybody disenchanted with government, fighting each other, going broke, and then coming back under a world government while destroying nationalism. Some might say. Very conspiratorial, that is, that idea. Well, we'll watch and see. But at times like this, it's important that our politicians give us unifying messages. So please, cut to camera one, Ted Cruz. This is going to be good.
With the government shut down and the country more divided than ever, America needs a hero. Someone brave enough to bring this fractured nation together with a simple, unifying message.
How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles?
Thank you, Ted Cruz.
So there it is. A unifying message for our time by more millionaire, billionaire Epstein listers, some might say. We don't know if that's a Freudian slip or if Ted Cruz actually had the balls to come out and ask everybody to stop attacking pedophiles, as if that's epidemic at this point. And one might want to ask themselves why a politician would come out and say that at all, Freudian slip or not. I would think it's very revealing. Okay, but again, part of a bigger process and program. So you got to see how God and the Lucifere works almost interchangeably. It's hard to find the seam at times. Come on out, start telling people that you're all pedophiles and revealing that, and watch them go crazy and argue with each other over it and potentially destroy this nation while they prepare to bring it right back under New World Order and the same billionaires who are running these millionaires and billionaires. Not that I'm doing class warfare. It's not about how much non-money they have. It's about what they're doing with it, what they stand for spiritually, what they're really about, turning the whole world into a fucking business. And they were all for that. Donnie's a businessman. He's not a politician, but he's seen with Epstein on every fucking plane, at every party, at every event. You know, he's just a businessman. That's what we need now more than ever. Wrong. We don't need another billionaire, supposed pedophile, or on the brink of pedophile. You know, because again, these people most likely that they're having sex with are past the point of puberty from the details we get through the grapevine, right? So they're not technically children; they're just illegals. You know, they're just minors and illegals. Which it only matters if you're brown. You know, the whole illegal thing, right? It only matters if you're brown and you don't have their subscription to the corporation, and Donnie gets to sell you a gold card U.S. citizenship for $1 million. Right? Turn the whole thing into a for-profit business, because who really gives a fuck about what's true and what's right in the law of the land? We're going to make some money now, playing everybody off against each other, right? Isn't that what mostly goes on YouTube too, by the way? Is it always a fucking coincidence? Go on these YouTube channels and everybody, if they're not bullshitting and carrying water for the official narrative so they can be accepted and liked and paid, they play everybody off against each other in order to profiteer, right? This is the mind of, it's the criminally minded, deviant aspect of a bunch of destroying themselves and each other slaves. Didn't really know other way to put it. I'm going to have to urinate here, so we're going to have to go to a video potentially. You know what? Yeah, let's go to Donnie. Let's go to Donnie. He's big on grass. Learn about grass today with Big Don Don.
Place was emblematic of it with the crime, the horrible crime. And you know, I watch these phony reports. Oh, we were on the way back. They weren't on the way back. It was worse than ever just a short while ago. But now it's going to be, I think right now, it's better than it has been in years. And in a couple of weeks, it's going to be even far better than that. And everybody's safe now. Everybody feels safe. And they're all coming in. And people are now coming in. They're making reservations to come in. They want to be in Washington, D.C. One of the things we're going to be redoing is your parks. I'm very good at grass because I have a lot of golf courses all over the place. I know more about grass than any human being, I think, anywhere in the world. And we're going to be regrassing all of your parks, all brand new sprinkler systems, the best that you can buy, just like the Augusta. No, it'll look like Augusta. It'll look like, more importantly, Trump National Golf Club. That's even better. But we're going to have all brand new, beautiful grass. You know, like everything else, grass has a life. Do you know that? Grass has a life. You know, we have a life and grass has a life. And the grass here died about 40 years ago. So we're going to be rebuilding all of your parks, and it's going to happen fast. It's going to go up like a miracle. So you do the job on safety, and I'll get this place fixed up physically, and we're going to be so proud of it at the end of 6 months. But let's say at the end of a year, this place will be maxed out in terms of beauty. You'll have all new surfaces. You'll have all new medians. Everything's going to look beautiful. A lot of your signs are going to be taken down. They've been up for 40 years. They look like hell. They're barely standing up. They're falling off their holders. And we're going to have all new everything. And I want to just thank Doug for doing such an incredible job. You've been unbelievable. You're a popular guy. No, he's an amazing guy. He's an amazing guy. Everybody love him. We love you. And his wife is so incredible.
Yeah, it's just that's every speech. Nobody knows more. And Trump is proof, and I'm from New York, I can say it, that a salesman, Manhattan bullshitter, fast talker can pretty much just convince anybody of anything. You know, everything's amazing. Everything's great. I know more about grass than any other human being alive. Let me tell you something about it. Grass has life. Did you know that? We also have life. Did you know that? Thank you, Don Don. I'm not finding much difference between Don Don and Joey B. They both seem like it's like sitting with your grandfather who thinks he knows it all, and you know, because he went to war a couple times, misdirected, won't cop to it, right? That he's been completely used and abused and misdirected, but he knows something because he went to war and fought for his corporate masters, and he's going to tell you about grass, and grass has life and you have life. Thanks, Grandpa Don. We learn so much when we're with you. Pretty much the majority of it is him telling you how much he knows. You don't ever get down to what he knows other than grass has life and we have life. Shit like that. Really profound shit like that, you know? And in between him kind of revealing that grass is life and we have life. He just keeps telling you about how much he knows, how great he is at stuff, Oh, wait, that's not what Grandpa used to be. Grandpa didn't say a bunch of bullshit like that. He just showed you how great he was by being fucking good at everything and being able to fix everything and having a decent woman by his side. Imagine that concept. It's all bullshit. This United States corporation and every corporation just completely runs on bullshit. That's what keeps it all moving. So let's go to one of my favorite compilations. Donnie basically saying nobody knows more about everything than him. Literally everything. Very smart guy, amazing guy, very competent and capable, very powerful man. Don is. Let's go. I need it.
And nobody knows this stuff better than me.
Nobody knows more about taxes than I do and income than I do.
Nobody knows more about construction than I do.
Nobody knows more about campaign finance than I do.
Nobody knows consultants better than me.
I know more about drones than anybody. Nobody knows much more about technology, this type of technology, certainly, than I do. Nobody knows more about technology than me. I know more about technology than anybody. Nobody in the history of this country has ever known so much about infrastructure as Donald Trump. I know the H-1B. I know the H-2B. Nobody knows it better than me. I know more about ISIS than the generals do, believe me. Nobody understands the press, but I think I understand them as well as anybody. I mean, I know these people much better than you do. I understand things. I comprehend very well, okay? Better than, I think, almost anybody.
And by the way, who knew the other side of the picture better than me? I knew it. Nobody knows more about environmental impact statements than me.
And I think I know more about the environment than most people.
I know a lot about wind. I know a lot about wind.
You know, I know windmills very much. I've studied it better than anybody. I understand the power of Facebook, maybe better than almost anybody. I know more about renewables than any human being on Earth. Nobody knows more about polls than me.
I know more about courts than any human being on earth.
I understand healthcare now, especially very well. A lot of people don't understand it.
I know the angles. I know every angle.
I know more about...
This is so fascinating and amazing to me. And you wonder why I am so able to tap into bitterness and resentment. This is the guy running U.S. corporation that my whole family believes is competent and capable. And he just gets up there and says, I know everything about courts. No one knows more about courts than me. That's patently, empirically false. I'm right here. You guys see me? I'm the queer with no experience doing a live stream, according to King Benjamin, which begs the question, when's your next stream, by the way? If what you just said is true. They allow any queer with no experience to live stream. So drop your link, I guess. I'm literally one person right here who knows more about court than Donald Trump, because I've been 6 times in 5 years and gotten dismissals every time. He got convicted for 34 felonies and nothing happened. What is that? So you lose, you let a lawyer talk for you, and then you turn around and go, I know more about courts than anybody. I know more about law than anybody. You don't. Or you do, and you're lying to everyone and playing a part. I don't know. I guess pick one. Beyond fascinating. And feel free to call in. If you guys have any balls out there, which most of you don't, you're not a complete fucking panty waist coward, as they used to say back east. That was way back. If you're not a complete fascist, or even if you are a fascist statist, but you're not a complete coward, why don't you call in or get on the panel and have an interaction with me? Easy to sit and chat behind a mask and use your little Twitter fingers. Hard to get up here and substantiate who and what you are, how you live, and what you really know or believe. You ain't going to do it. Most of you ain't going to do it because subconsciously you know you're outclassed already here. You know that I do know. Let me do the Donnie now. I know more about government and politics, political science than pretty much any man here. See, I didn't say any man here, right? I'm active, something a lot of you aren't ever. Which reminds me, I got a few of them. Aaron Spiegel is down there this week. He's done traveling under license, registration, and insurance. They stole his property, and now he's in the process of getting remuneration, I think would be one of the terms used. So we'll work together. He'll work with God without me, whatever the case may be. He's having the experience. He's going on the walk, right? He seems very faithful too. Seems almost excited to be a part of this, even though it's a little scary, you know. But I have another being who messaged me this morning, and I have a theory, and I'm probably wrong here, but I'm going to go ahead and run with this theory. I have a theory that a lot of these folks who message me, they like getting me started up. They do. They go, Paulie's about to do his broadcast today. Let's message him and tell him we're meeting with Mark Passio. See if he just fucking goes off on everybody. Good chance I will. From a passionate place, from a caring place. Okay? Because I do care, and I am passionate about this stuff. Mark Passio and the majority of these folks are talking heads, is what it seems to me. And again, I asked this being to ask Mark Passio why he won't interact with me when folks who work with him and his producers have reached out to me and said, we think you're the next thing that needs to interact with Mark, like the next big thing. This was a while ago at this point. And I responded to them the way I always do. I'll go anywhere and talk with anybody about truth, rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, God, co-creationalism. I'll talk to the devil himself, quite frankly. What I was told, again, a lot of this is hearsay, so I'm not claiming this is firsthand information, but it all adds up. It all lines up. I've seen these moves before. People act like they don't know who I am. When they're told and shown who I am, they won't get in the room with me because they know what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask them, what about rights and freedom? What about activism? What about the common law? And we know Mark Passio is at least on record on one presentation saying, fuck the common law. It doesn't matter. We don't need to know the law. We don't need to know the difference between legal and lawful. We don't need to know how to go to court and get fucking results to secure our property and our rights. Yeah, you keep believing that one. You keep listening to people who drink fucking beer every day. They swig swill, right? And then they want to vomit out nonsense like we don't need to know the difference between legal and lawful and what our fucking rights are under God and be civilly disobedient and active. No, we just need to sit online and make fucking presentations and yap our mouth and threaten the audience that we're not going to come back unless you pay us. And we don't need to know the common law either. Chill Central. Hate to say it because Mark's got a lot of good information. He's inspired me at one point. I had a lot of respect for him. Till, you know, like the old cliche goes, never get to where your supposed heroes are. I've never had heroes. People who I highly respect, who I'm inspired by, never get in the room with them. Never meet them because you might be disappointed, right? Especially when they won't meet you because they know what you stand for versus what they stand for. Even when their people around them say, this would be a great conversation. Sure it would. I'm sure it would. You know? I could talk anarchy and natural law and all the rest of it. Just as good, if not better than anybody. What does it all amount to? I'm not here to be a presenter, you know, the whole of me to just be a presenter sitting at the front of the room, yapping my mouth and putting up slides and then not doing anything different. That's not what we need now more than ever. That's not going to get anything done. And please save it when you like to tell me over text. I'm not being mean to you. I'm just passionate about the truth. And I responded back to you honestly. Well, Mark's just the teacher. You know, many of us are chosen here to actually do the action. You know, this is the typing. They're typing to me. You know, Mark's the teacher. The rest of us have to do the action. Bullshit. If Mark's at the front of the room teaching, he's in a leadership role and position. You're not in a true leadership role or position unless you lead from the front. That's what used to make kings under God, is they got on the fucking horse and they rode out, and whoever rode with them was a part of the mission and the purpose, and whoever didn't was a fucking coward who was exiled. Okay, that's how we got to where we are. By the way, in case you didn't know, you know, for all the folks who like to suck founding father dick. If you're going to suck founding father dick, then you have to be honest with yourself and others about how we got here. And how we got here, according to your mythology, true or not, I'll buy it for 1,000, right? I'll push it for free just to make it true, so we can go from there, right? The narrative. Well, George Washington was offered the kingship and a bunch of riches over and over again, and many of these founding fathers had assassination attempts done on them, and they still led from the front and didn't cooperate, didn't comply. Quite frankly, went to war over tax on tea. And you want to sit here and tell me about founding fathers and the spirit of that when you ain't that on any level? You're a protesting, complaining bitch who presents slideshows and goes to the tavern to drink beer and socialize. See? They always got half the story. Like the founders used to go to the tavern and drink beer and talk revolution and resolution. Yeah, and then they went out and fucking died for what's true and what's right. They put their asses on the line. So I don't want to hear it. I'm tired of it. Tired of going on YouTube and hearing and seeing these mouthpieces for rights and freedoms who don't go to jail regularly, who don't engage in civil disobedience and actual activism because they're too fucking scared of what's going to happen, and they're too busy telling everyone they don't need to know their rights and the law to get by in this situation. Beyond Chile de Castro behavior. See? Chile de Castro at least masquerades as a legal scholar and purports to understand how important knowing the law or legality is. That's one of the only ways out of this, along with civil disobedience and noncompliance. You got to make them hear you and see you and feel you. You got to know you have power and can get results in order for them to see you, hear you, and feel you. Okay? So this should be a pretty simple understanding to get with. Aaron, your thoughts on any of this? I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
You can?
There we go.
All right. So, okay. Thanks for inviting me up or whatever you did. I mean, as far as I could, but I can say, yeah, both my cars got stolen. Not both my cars, but 2 cars got stolen from out front. They were parked on the street. They were not registered. I had let the registration lapse on either one of them. And I just put on private tags. I wasn't driving either one of them. They've been sitting there for a while. Or traveling with either one of them. But they were taken on Thursday, first shift. I called. The only thing I found out so far is that, you know, the place that has them, and I don't know, you know, it said registration was why they were taken. So I just got on ChatGPT and I've got a couple of other things going too that are not related to this, but I'm just doing whatever I can. It feels like just to, you know, stand, you know what I mean? Because once you know you've been duped, then I don't know, you got to have some courage to do it because, you know, you're going to get screwed probably, or at least in the interim until you, you know, get through it. But so anyway, back to the story.
So how do we get to the point exactly where registration was created in order to keep a log of your VIN in case somebody stole your property? Then your civil servants could return it back to you. And now your civil servants are stealing your property because you won't log your property with them. How do we get to that point, Aaron?
Right. Exactly. So I say all the time, it takes all of us. This was an opportunity that landed in my lap, really, because I was trying to figure out what was I going to do with the cars, and they took them. So now I've got it the way the paperwork's set, and we'll see, because I'll let you guys know what's going on as it goes. But as it says right now, and I got one of these guys back from the city manager's office. I sent this off on Thursday along with like 4 other ones, one to the chief, one to the mayor, one to the person in charge of law, and to the towing company. So I'm waiting to hear back from them. And I could have gone over there. I really was motivated to go over there yesterday, but my time got just interfered with, I guess. It didn't work out that way. So I'm just going to sit on the paperwork that I sent and wait to hear back. But I did want to just, like what you text, you said be more proactive or potentially. And I did think I was going to go over there yesterday, but it didn't happen. I should be getting these things back. I got this one back on Saturday.
Right. So a towing company, let's repeat this again for the slow children in the back. The towing company is defined as a service provider. That should be pretty simple. It provides a service. If you're stuck on the side of the road, you call, they come get your shit. When did a service provider privatize, supposedly, they say it's private business. They, these yappers, they just say shit. And they're right for the wrong reasons. But when did a privatized service corporation take out contracts with a civil service corporation to profiteer off taking a private man's property? Sounds like RICO under federal statute. Oops. And we can go down the list, right? Of all the federal statutes that are still not law. They're codified law that we can deduce with common sense why it's all there and how it's supposed to work versus what it's become. So again, registration was putting your property's numbers and descriptions in a log so that if somebody took your property, civil servants who are there to keep you safe or protect your property rights, more importantly, as ruled on at Supreme Court, could go and retrieve that property and know who it belongs to, right? Bring it back to you and restore your rights and your property to their original condition. How did we go from registry to keep our property rights and property safe to have it returned to the private owner to the people who are supposed to protect your rights taking your property because you won't log it with them and pay for their services, which are all prepaid through taxation and through a credit debit system, right? Because we know at one point that United States Corporation became defunct. As we know, the debt ceiling is just growing more and more. So they've never gotten out of debt, but they've restructured the monetary system to where we are the creditors, and they're doing all their business off of credit by signing bills and making us the creditor. That's why they love all you voting, tax-paying slaves, because you keep signing on to them writing up more bills so they can take more of your rights and property while you go into debt as the creditor. And they take out more lines of credit to aggrandize themselves and enrich themselves off of your ass. And then, as we know, what mafiosi always does, if you go watch Goodfellas, at some point you get Jewish lightning. That's the point we're at now. What's Jewish lightning? Well, it's when somehow, some way, that business gets lit on fire and burns to the ground, and they walk off while collecting more again from the insurance money. Okay? So, you have the same mafiosi corporatist process playing out right now. They took over United States, turned it into a business, ran the credit line up like mafiosi always does on the owner's back. That would be the people. And now they're going to light it on fire and walk off into the distance and doubly collect on the insurance money. And they're going to leave you to pick up the pieces. Well, not completely on your own. The centralized bankers are going to come in and start the process all over again. Hence the continued government shutdowns and the push toward digital IDs and the push toward digital currency. They're showing you who and what they are and what they're setting up for, right? So, again, this is all happening because you folks refuse to civilly disobey. Many of you are civilly disobeying now, which, again, it's a catch-22, as they used to say. If you don't do this, this thing just ensconces you and takes you over. If you do try to make a change and get out of it, this thing rushes and pushes more than ever to try to restructure and get out ahead of you, right? So that's what we have, essentially. It's a Cold War. It's not really a war, but it's a spiritual, energetic exchange and shifting consciousness, you could say. It appears to be a war because there's a resistance point, right? The resistance point is the point of ignorance and arrogance, thinking you know when you don't, and when you speak, not making any sense. See, what I'm saying makes sense. We can go right to the dual jurisdiction, protected class, privileged class. We could go right to United States defined by U.S. code as a corporation. We can go right to Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, statute, policy, and code is only given the force of law through the consent of the governed. That means it's not law, and you have to contract in order for it to be enforced on you. But they no longer care about that because we're so deep in fascism, we don't give a fuck if you consent or not, at least on the ground. You're going to do what we say, And what we say is what we're told. And what we're told is that policy, statute, and code, thousands and millions of them, are your law now, sonny boy, even at the expense of your natural rights, your constitutional rights, constitutionally protected natural rights, and your right to property. Okay. Now, at the same time, while this thing is making a last-ditch effort and a grasp, while it's watching a bunch of us wake up and start asking questions and not complying, Donnie and others in the mainstream are playing with the idea of abolishing tax, land tax, tax on your home, federal income tax. They're playing with the idea because now they got to make a decision. Are we going to criminalize again a whole generation of seemingly decent people or people who want to be good that just don't want to follow policy and code and have the right to opt out? Are we going to go get them because they're illegals and put them in a fucking glorified concentration camp? Or are we going to back the fuck down? And are we going to actually do what we were commissioned to do from the beginning? Uphold the rights of the protected class while slaving the shit out of the privileged class? I don't mind that. I don't mind that. We can meet you in the middle. Spiritually, it's sound, right? For those of us who get it and we're chosen and we opt out and we understand the law and we abide by that, we get the protections of this corporation. That means you leave us and our property alone. And if someone tries to take it, you fucking stop them. For the rest of you sheepish slaves who think statute, policy, and code is law and want to vote for a corporate master to run your life and forego your natural rights for benefits and privileges like Social Security and Medicaid and all the rest of it, you got to do what your pimp tells you what to do. I don't. Right? I exist at the whim of God. You exist at the whim of your earthly masters. And as the scripture says, we can't serve two masters. So you're literally here to work 7 days a week to pay slave tax. If I ever decide that I want to enjoy the fruits of our labor in this land, as I told somebody, and then we'll get to Aaron's presentation here. I had a great interaction. It's on my channel. The sheriffs came out to see me. I had to get them up on federal code. They went home and researched and came back and said, Paulie boy, and this is a wink and a nod too. They said, your birthday's coming up, right? Because they, you know, the Masons, they like a little wink and nod every so often, as if I'm going to be scared about you looking into my background and knowing my born date. But they came back the next day and they said, Paulie boy, your birthday's coming up. You know, me and my buddy, we thought about bringing you a cake. I'm sure you did. Because you can wink and nod me and give me a Sicilian message, but you know deeper in your conscience that I am you and you are me, and what I'm doing needs to be done. And if you don't do it too, we're fucked. So they came back and said, interesting, Paulie boy, we looked into federal code and you might be onto something there, that the state of Arizona is not the same thing as Arizona State. And I was on Arizona State trust land. And see, one of the good citizens up on the mountain who had a nice big house and pays a lot of tax called on me. And they came down to talk to me. The video's on my channel. And I had to remind them of the dual jurisdiction and the differences in status and standing. I'm the closest thing to God on this land. If I want to use this land, which is publicly available, right, to the private and to the public, private man and public, because it's trust land, it's held in trust of and by and for the people. I will come here. I will enjoy what God has given me, and I will not be subject to your statutes, policies, and codes. And I will also use a fair bit of common sense. Leave the place better than you found it. Don't cut down 100-year-old trees, on and on and on. But I had to remind them, based on their law that they're bound to, which is U.S. code and the code that comes down through the dimension, so to speak, that citizen slave up there literally has no status and standing. He's under the corporation. He's there to pay tax so you folks can upkeep this land so I can kick my feet back and shit in a hole if I want to. You ain't going to tell me otherwise, okay? You don't tell me what to do. I tell you what to do because you're a civil servant. And you go back and you tell that slave who pays you to upkeep and maintain this land as a trustee for me and God, you go tell him to get his fucking act together, okay? Because if you really want to take this deep, I am Americana and you are a redcoat traitorous trash. Okay, who's already given up the law of the land, doesn't care about rights and freedoms, and wants to call supposed authorities to do loss, injury, and harm to your fellow man, while you don't even rest in that status, standing, or capacity. You got some fucking nerve. Okay, so they had to go back and let this dunce know, you don't get to call us to have something done to him. If you got a problem with him, you go down and talk to your fellow man and you resolve, because that's the Christian Americana thing to do. You know what the bottom line was? He didn't have any problem with me. He just presumed and assumed, wrongly, of course, that I was up to no good, right? and that I was just going to move along. So we ended the interaction with the sheriff saying, "You're right, Paulie boy, we'll look more into that because we need to fucking learn our job and the law." Okay. But then they pretty much dealt with me on common sense, and that's how it all should go. They said, "What are you doing here? We just kind of want to know." "No problem. I'm here trying to get to my property. It's bad weather. I can't get up there. When everything clears out, I'm out of here. I don't want to be here any longer than I have to be here." "Okay, well, how long do you plan on staying?" "Oh, maybe a couple weeks." Long as I want, but hey, a couple weeks. Again, I want to get out of here just as bad, if not more so, than you all want me out of here. But sometimes based on what's necessary and proper, I got to do what I got to do, and I have the right to do such, right? So they said, "Okay, no problem. We get what you're doing. We understand that. We'll go back and tell this citizen slave about what his duties and obligations are and what his rights aren't, because he fucking gave them away and contracted them out." And then I told the sheriffs, "And you can also let the pathetic citizen slave who thinks because he has big money and big house that he's got big knowledge, big brain, and big balls, he can come on down from the top of his mountain, his high horse, and he can talk to a real one, and I can get him up on some good game." See? This way, next time when he talks or when he moves, there'll be a little bit more gravitas to it, right? Maybe someone might fucking listen. Because that's all these disempowered slaves really want, is they archetypally, subconsciously want to go back to a space where they were the closest thing to God. They were kingly. When they spoke, people moved. They want to go back to a position of true leadership. Unfortunately, though, you got to do and be certain things to get that. See? That's the part everybody misses out on. Go ahead, Aaron. Questions, comments, concerns, or we can put up your presentment here, whatever you want to do. And then feel free to let me ramble and rant and loop.
And what am I putting up?
You got something in the back there, no?
Oh, I do. This is just the okay. I've not done it from this side, shared this stuff, so I'm gonna. Can you
It's not
pull
letting
it up?
me edit for some reason.
Huh. I don't know.
Okay,
Anyway,
no
it
matter.
doesn't really
Questions,
matter.
comments, concerns. Thank you, Uncle Joe. It's the 4th time you brought up my hand gestures. I'm Italian and Irish. When we talk, we use our hands. Okay, and I'm aware of how I look, and I play it up a little bit. It's a bit performative, right? As you pointed out, you're very intelligent. I can tell right off the bat, Uncle Joe. If you keep spinning and cycling and repeating and trying to poke me from the chat box, I'll throw your bitch ass out of here in 2 seconds, and we'll move on. So please get with the program. I'm going to continue to talk and use my hands and be exclamatory and performative because that's what I do. And I really don't care what you think or feel about it. And if you had any balls on you, Uncle Joe, you get up here and tell me whoever, whatever to my face. And you won't. So I don't need you here. I got someone here who's attempting to or has found their balls and does want to do what's true and what's right and has had their property taken and is looking for legal, lawful remedy. Okay? This person matters now in the grand scheme of things. This is all that this amounts to. There's people who matter because they're with what matters and attempting to do what needs to be done. And then there's the rest of you. I don't give a fuck what you think and feel. You're a traitorous redcoat slave. You're lucky I even allow you in here to be in our presence, quite frankly, with everything else going on. Go ahead, Aaron. Questions, comments, concerns.
Well, just as nothing really. I'm just excited to see what happens. I mean, it's just fun. It really is because it's like you try to figure it out. It's a little game. You're trying to, just your approach to it, your strategy, and then go from there. And it is in God's hands because what's going to happen happens, and that's pretty much it. So I don't even know. I don't have a wanted outcome for this. I just, I'm excited to see where it goes, and then just be part of the process to, get the experience of going through it, and learning more. And really, it all comes down to this. And you say it, but the fact is, if you know who you are, I'm a man under God. Nobody has authority over me unless I'm causing loss, injury, or harm. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And you be able to present it, somewhat diplomatically to whoever your audience is. That's goal, and try to stay out of the box if possible. But you do. See, I got nothing to lose because I don't have anybody depending on me. If I disappeared for a week, very few people would notice, So it just feels like my responsibility in knowing what I know to stand up and do something. And you know, it helps that I got my ass beat when I was little. It helps that I haven't been exposed to all the dumb shit that, you know, people that are younger than me have been. But you know, conditioning essentially. They teach you to be a pussy today. And that's, you know, ideally we can combat that with the opposite and show other people and share with other people. Just, you know, that's what's going on here, right? Stand up and have some courage, have some balls.
Right. And part of having courage and balls sometimes is admitting when you're weak in your position or when you're vulnerable in order so you can confront who and what you are, what you've been, and what you might become. Right. So this is not an absence of feeling. This is feeling deeply into who and what you are and where you're going and what needs to happen. Right. So I just want to make that clear, right? That, you know, you have that kind of sacred masculine and feminine aspect to self, and then you have the toxic, so to speak, masculine and feminine aspects of self. So nothing wrong with feeling. I've cried on this broadcast. I probably will again. I cry in my life. I express emotion, you know, real human emotion, and I go within from time to time, especially when I'm compelled to, right? When I'm tested and challenged and I'm showed that there's more to learn and more to reveal. We have to go within and we have to feel deeply and fully in order to know self and then be the best version of self we can be. And I contend best version of self we can be is not a go along to get along sheepish slave who doesn't follow their heart-based intelligence and is not conscionable. The word is conscionable, but it's spelled conscionable, able to use one's conscience to determine right from wrong, and then practice courage to go past their fear of what's going to happen to their body in order to manifest that, because nobody else is going to do it for you. You know, at some point, God's going to turn all these people from their wicked ways. God's going to play the ultimate trick on all these folks, and it's been prophesized in the scripture because we loop here, light age, dark age cycle. In the meantime, we all have a role to play, one way or the other, right? If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Very simple. If you're cooperating and complying and you're just giving them their money like James Freeman and the other fraudulent mouthpieces talk about, you're not really doing anything to make any waves or make them respect you. Respectare means take a second look at. Okay. So right now we're at perfect time to get these civil servants and agents to respect us and take a second look at us by us saying, no, we're done. We're out. We're not complying. Because we're not going to continue to give our hard-earned money, non-money coupons for value to folks who want to give it to Israel to do genocide, give it to Ukraine to do genocide, lock down a whole world, use WHO, NIH to push snake poison on everybody. We're done. We're over. We see what this is now, right? It's a spiritual realm. It's a spiritual dynamic. So let's go to this little ditty on the hit parade here. Why not? You know, because folks will say, well, Polly boy, if it's a spiritual dynamic, the devil's going to have its kingdom. What's the point of trying? Well, it's about who and what you serve in the meantime. That's what we're putting ourselves on record as, who and what we serve, what we're going to be a part of and not. Doesn't matter where it all goes. See, that's what God's teaching us. How do you teach a whole race of beings ultimate faith in the truth? By giving them no guarantees about where all this goes. Hell, giving everybody a guarantee of where all this goes. Everybody's going to die, and you may have to go through hell before you get there. So now what? What are you going to do? What are you going to be? What are you going to serve in the meantime? And you know what the answer for most soul broken, given up, checked out slaves is? I'm going to rot in hell, a living hell that I and the other slaves around me have created and allowed for ourselves. We're not going to do and be anything above and beyond this apathetic, listless, lazy, procrastinating, dysfunctional, disempowered aspect of self that fucking got us here. Okay? That's why United States Corporation is failing. That's why all the corporations around the world are failing, not only because they've taken over, but they're inhabited by a bunch of lazy, procrastinating, apathetic, dysfunctional, disempowered fucking slaves who think the answer is another paycheck and another piece of false power, right? That's all that this world has to offer them now at this point when you're a completely fallen being, right? So Australia guns confiscated from Sovsets. In a significant operation, Western Australian police have seized 135 firearms. Don't ask me what a firearm is. More legal beagle speak. More twisting and turning of words so that they can put you in their jurisdiction and take your property and your power. And it happens to work. It's called magic. It's called spelling. Sorcery, right? Yeah, 135 firearms from individuals, another great word, associated with the sovereign citizen movement. which of course is oxymoronic. This action was prompted by the fatal shooting of 2 police officers in Victoria. Well, isn't that special? So 2 policy enforcers who wanted to push policy on men and women through fraudulent contracts got popped. And what does that mean? That means you're going to lose your property and rights. Yep, because we got to keep you all safe in your slavery. The operation involved search warrants at 70 addresses and resulted in the suspension and or cancellation of 44 firearm licenses. Oh, good thing you got them permits and licenses to engage in a right, huh? If only your civil servants just respected your constitutional/natural rights and didn't impede on them and didn't try to license them for profit so you can engage in them. And if you do that, that means they can take them. See how it works? If you give in and you comply and you license out your rights and you agree with them through contract, well, then at some point they're going to come to take back your property and rights, and you're going to have no legal or lawful argument. See how this works? Blah, 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 70 addresses, suspension and cancellation of licenses. 7 individuals were charged with 18 offenses related to incorrect gun storage. Ooh. Slaves didn't have their guns stored properly. Notice, by the way, they interchangeably use these terms throughout the article, and you wonder, why not just use all the same terms? Why use different terms? Why, when I point it out, do they say I'm crazy? We went from a firearm to a gun. We go from a citizen to a national. What is that? They say, well, Paulie boy, please, it doesn't matter. They're just randomly using terms. No, they're not. They're putting the game right in your motherfucking face, and you still don't get it. It's called pimping. See? Pimping wouldn't be pimping if they didn't put it right in the host's face all day, every day, and even give them the option to leave. Because they like the idea that we give you the option to leave and tell you're a hoe, but you keep staying up under my wing. It's a power fucking game. See how it works? WA, Australian Police Commissioner Colonel Blanche emphasized the importance of ensuring public safety. There's the buzzword. Because every one of these places has a nation that's been turned into a corporation, and they've drafted a charter constitution, and they've heavily amended it, and they've put in there at some point the clause of public safety to take all your property rights and your ability to engage in your natural rights, your constitutionally protected rights. The operation was informed by multiple tip-offs from reasonable gun owners. Responsible gun owners. See how they fluff the slaves, right? Some responsible slave out there got an erection just now because they fluff you real good, like they do with the porn stars. So what does that amount to? Well, there's some gunshots in the background. I don't know if you can hear that. It's I don't know. Is it audible? Can you guys hear that? Okay, you can. All right. Yeah, they're practicing out there. I don't know what they're practicing for hunting. If they ever have to hunt one day to get a meal. So, where was I? Let's see here. The operation was informed. So we had some informants, multiple tip-offs, some responsible gun owners, and some investigations were conducted to validate intelligence on individuals with sovereign citizen beliefs. Let me boil that down for you. That's a lot of word salad there. They like to say that I do word salad. Get the dressing out. There's no word salad like a government word salad. That's called fascista. That's called Holocaust. That's called your fellow countrymen are tipping and informing on you because they've been mind controlled to think that anybody who's for rights and freedoms and not cuckery is a terrorist. We're there again. And what do you think comes of that when we're there again? Civil war. I don't want that. Hopefully I'm going to be way up in the mountains out of the middle of nowhere, growing plants, self-sustainable, self-sufficient, and in no conflict whatsoever other than resolving the conflict within. Living free, being self-sustainable, self-sufficient, and non-compliant when necessary. I will not fight a war of leftards and patriotards. I will not do it. There doesn't need to be a war in order to secure rights and freedoms. You just got to stop fucking complying. And I guess they whack you or they don't. That's all this comes down to, right? I'm pretty sure they told a story about that 2,000 years ago, by the way, that you all started a society over. Pretty sure the phrase go, what would Jesus, the Mexican national, what would Jesus do? Right? And as he would put it, we don't serve two masters here, right? So The civil servants are going to come under God and therefore the law and therefore the truth of who and what we are and what this needs to be, or they're going to do corruption. They do corruption, they may take a lot of us with them. Ultimately, there's no getting out of this alive anyway, and there's no getting out of this slavery other than living free. That's what your founders told you. That's what Jesus told you. And more importantly, they lived it and showed you. Now it's on you. Okay. And no, again, I'm not calling for revolution. It means complete circle. We don't do war like the founders. We do resolution. We break the cycle. Simple civil disobedience, non-compliance en masse. This changes overnight. I and others have proven it. We proved it on Denver. They say, Paulie thinks he saved Denver single-handedly. No, I did a video there that showed the possibilities. Possibility is infectious. Aaron's proving that this week, right? When we show the opportunity and the possibility, folks just start to get with it. So when that video has been seen over 10 million times, and locally the algorithm tends to push it to folks wherever the video's emanation point is, well, within 6 months of that video, I saw more people without plates than I'd seen in a lifetime. Okay. And they didn't know that they were riding next to me if they saw that video, right? We didn't need to know any of that. It didn't have to become about me. It's about I am that am. So they got the message. They did the next right thing. And then fast forward to Brian O'Shea and others getting the experience on the ground of their civil servants finally serving them and saying, you know what? We're not going to take your name since you don't want to give it. We don't need it. And you know what? We're just going to serve you today by leaving you the fuck alone instead of pushing statute, policy, and code on you for revenue. Hell, the bitch even turned to the left when he said, you might be serving something. You don't even know what it is. The devil. She went and then looked off into the distance. They know who and what they are, what they're serving subconsciously, spiritually. The gig is up. The time is up. They don't want to do it anymore. I don't blame them. Come out of her, my people. This is a spiritual resolution. We now got the emails and the communications from Denver and other places like that where so many people stopped complying in mass, they couldn't deal with everyone any longer. So they made up an excuse. You know why? To get the rest of the hating slaves to say, Paulie didn't have no effect. The truth didn't have no effect. They just did that because of COVID. 4 years later, you really buy that and believe that? You really believe if there was enough of us to police and we stopped complying, they wouldn't just hire other slaves and pay them double to come wrangle everybody? No, they made an executive decision that they were going to have to criminalize a whole generation and sector of normal, regular people who were done complying, and it was going to make the news. They didn't want to go there, see? When the time comes, the big bad bully at the flagpole always backs down. They don't really want it, especially if you show up with your crew. Right? They really don't want it. So this is psychological, sub-psychological power and value games. The best part about their game is with us, there's no game. This is inherent hierarchical power and value systems. We get the revelation from God. We live God's truth. It's codified in a contract we call a constitution. That is the law, and it has nothing to do with statute, policy, and code. Get with it or get gone. Okay? So this is how you got to force their hand, like anybody in life, right? You got to tell them you're out, and then you got to make them do it to you over and over again. And you got to remind them you ain't going away. And that's when they say, you know what? We did the cost benefit analysis. It's going to cost us a bunch of money to do this. We're going to have to keep trying to explain it away with bullshit. It's not worth it. Just let them ride. See, I learned this in middle school. This is how crazy this is spiritually. I learned in middle school that the adults were going to keep trying to tell me what to do, and I'm just going to keep ignoring it, and they're going to keep trying to punish me, and I'm going to come out and do it again. And at some point, they're going to leave me the fuck alone. And they did. After a while. Your thoughts on any of that, Aaron? Questions, comments, concerns? We got a lot of articles. I want to get to the second article about the sovereign citizen movement. I wasn't done yet.
Go ahead.
Okay. Ride shotgun. We'll continue along here. Get in where you fit in. Police seize guns from sovereign citizens who reject government authority. Imagine this. Imagine that the arm of the media who Supreme Court has ruled can lie to everybody as much as they want. If you lie to police, it's a felony. If they lie to you, it's just political science, folks. Is it possible government of and by and for the people makes it such that the corporation masquerading as government has no authority? If what they're doing is at odds with the foundational law of the land, which it is, 10 different ways to Sunday. Police in Western Australia have seized guns and revoked and suspended firearms permits to dozens of owners linked to what investigators describe as sovereign citizen ideologies or reviews that reject government authority. That's me. Come on in, folks. Come on and get me and come take my property again and see if we don't wind up at court and see if I don't run this fat mouth there and put it on record and bring God right in the room with the rest of you demons and deceivers. Let's go. Let's get it done. See? The crackdown on firearm users follows the fatal shooting of 2 police officers, blah, blah, blah. We went over this. Weeks after he is said to have killed 2 officers visiting his rural property to serve a search warrant. Right. So what does that amount to? I'm not promoting this, but what are they basically saying? Well, a bunch of folks in costumes who are delusional and in denial and bizarre in their understandings and belief, and fraudulent, some might say, came to private property and trespassed and didn't leave when they were asked. So they got what for? Now, someone somewhere tell me how someone in a costume suddenly has more rights and abilities with private property than the men and women they serve. That's right. It can never happen legitimately, okay? So, hey, you want to stop getting people in costumes shot up? Stop interfering with people's rights and property. Stop fucking trespassing on people's body, their rights, and their property. Okay? This is very simple. Start upholding the law of the land and doing your fucking job. Stop following unlawful orders. Hello. It's called be a man and woman again. It's called grow the fuck up. It's called stop taking a paycheck to be a swine if you have any fucking self-respect or integrity. I said if for obvious reasons. Man, while they're cracking down on firearms, they're letting off shots over here more than ever. Ganos had their permits canceled or reviews. Freeman. Oh, wow. The guy's name is Freeman. Oh, is this real? What is real? As Morpheus said. So this is interesting. The guy's name is Freeman, Freeman, in this either real story or psychological warfare, psychological operation. I wasn't there, so I guess we'll never know. Freeman is suspected of killing Detective Senior Constable Neil Thompson and Senior Constable Vadim Dewart Hotart. That's a good name for him. Hot Tart. Yeah. Hottart. We got a hot tard out here. And wounding a 3rd officer following a shooting. Investigators in Western Australia used bolstered gun laws enacted in 2024 to identify weapons owners in their state who said they held similar views to Freeman's. Interesting. The mission of this operation was simple, in quotes, and that was to validate and verify our intelligence on who may hold sovereign citizen ideologies here in Western Australia. The state's police commissioner, Colonel Blanche, said, so it starts with paying the slave tax to use your property. It starts with registering your home to pay tax on use your home. It starts with paying tax on your car and getting a license to use your property. It starts with getting permits to use your guns and engage in rights. And then next thing you know, they're spying on you. They're tracking you. They're tracing you. They're showing up in war wagons to your house. They're trying to take your rights and property. And dare you lawfully defend yourself, oh, you're going to get written up as a crazy sob-sit terrorist. Is it possible that one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter? Whatever that means. Again, you know me, I contend we're not here to fight for freedom. We just have to be that and live that. That doesn't require any violence or potentially even using force. Just stop cooperating and complying. If they take you to the box above or below ground, well, then you'll be tested more and more for your faith in God, right? That can be seen as a good thing, not a negative thing, if we let it be. All right, so we get to decide what that walk is for ourselves and each other, how we perceive that, how we walk with that. Okay, we did the Donnie knows everything. We never finished that. More Donnie. I need more Donnie.
Steel workers than anybody that's ever run for office.
I know more about golf than Obama knows. And in the case of Turkey and the Kurds, I could go into a whole story because I understand it, I think, better than most.
And I know all about it. I've known about it for a long time. I know the subject better than anybody.
I know.
This guy talks about, I know Scranton. I know that. Well, I know the places better.
Nobody knows more about banks than I do. Nobody knows more about trade than me. Well, obviously, he doesn't know about nuclear weapons. I know more about nuclear weapons than he'll ever know.
Mm-hmm. You know Russians better than I do, Kevin, okay? I understand the tax laws. better than almost anyone.
Who knows more about lawsuits than I do? I'm the king. I know more about offense and defense than they will ever understand.
And nobody even understands it but me. It's called devaluation.
I understand money better than anybody.
I understand the system better than anybody. Nobody knows more about debt than I do.
Nobody knows the game better than me.
I know more about contributions than anybody.
Even the smart guys on Wall Street, and I know all of them, and they are smart.
And who knows more about the word apprentice than Donald Trump? I understand politicians better than anybody. Nobody knows politicians better than me.
Who knows the other side better than me?
Who knows the other side better than me?
I think I know more.
Well, he's right there. Who does know the other side better than him? I mean, Donnie was another Democrat before he masqueraded as a Republican. Another Manhattanite corporatist who's hanging around with the Epsteins and the Clintons and all the rest of them. But he wasn't like them. He just did business with them, but he wasn't like them. As if that doesn't make you unethical and immoral, right? Oh, you just do business with people who cause loss, injury, and harm, are involved in mafiosi and killings. You're not like them. You're just making money with them, right? Imagine this fucking logic. The logic of a guy who knowingly worked with the actual mob at one point, the Italian mafia, to do construction scams and schemes. Give me a fucking break. And then Dustin wants to come in here. You love to turn a whole bunch of perpetrators and evil, cowardly scum into victims. I love it. This is exactly why I'm not Charlie Kirk. Go find your next Charlie Kirk. They're creating him right now for you. There's a list of folks who are going to rally for the position of being your next Charlie Kirk, including the wife who's laughing and giggling and cashing checks the same week that her husband died, according to the news, non-news. So you come in here and you tell me you agree with everything I say and you know it's true and right. You know what the fuck you need to do. And instead of focusing on that, you go right to the yeah, but. I just don't stand with putting down the downtrodden. Who's the downtrodden? Exactly. I was the one sitting on Facebook day after day trying to tell people, making myself physically sick like the fool I am. Okay? I still have pain today and every day and health problems and issues because I care. Maybe a little too much. Maybe my passion is a flame that is self-emulating me. Right? I've had to consider that. You want to sit here and talk about the people like myself who tried to tell all these statist, fascist, corporatist slaves to not jab up and boost out and put themselves deeper into slavery and genocide, and they cursed us all out, blocked us, exiled us, told us we were crazy, and all the rest of it? Give me a break. Majority of folks aren't downtrodden. You're dunce the fuck out. You're too ignorant and arrogant to get with the program. You're too busy making victims out of yourself while you're the damn manifestors and perpetrators to get with the damn program. You just did it right there. You folks aren't downtrodden. You're procrastinating, cowardly, you're lazy, you're dysfunctional, you're disempowered. And when I speak the truth, you say you agree, but you don't want to do the fucking work to make the change. So what's left? You going to get me a tissue? You going to go get a tissue and cry about it? You're all the downtrodden. No, you're not. You're the down syndromed. Is really the bottom line here. Your development spiritually has been so retarded and arrested, okay? And you're so comfortable in your suffering and your cowardice that you literally do and be nothing to change any of this. And then you want sympathy from me? While I'm doing the work, while I'm attempting to teach what needs to be taught, while I'm sacrificing and going through the fire, whether I like it or not, please. Beyond embarrassing at this point, okay? For you. I'm embarrassed just witnessing it. Okay? So nobody's like putting down the downtrodden, see? Why don't you use your words properly and communicate what it actually is? You folks put yourself down or stay down in a lowly position because you don't want to stand up and rise to the occasion. You don't want to walk with and serve the Most High. See? I didn't put you down. More blaming other people. More abdication of your responsibility. More denial of your action and inaction. You all put and kept yourself down because it's real easy to suck dick when you put yourself down. See? Stop sucking dick, get off your knees, rise to the occasion, walk with the Most High, serve God in the truth of your conscience, and stop being a victimized fucking slave. How about that? Then maybe I And your corporate masters will start to respect you because you'll be respect-able. It's another able word for a reason. Because you all live in the generation where everybody gets respect. Everybody's automatically respectable. No, you're not. No, you don't. I literally come to this broadcast because I love meeting new people in order to disrespect them and insult them. Not with lies, not with manipulation, not with rudeness, with the harsh truth that many of you don't want to face and don't want to use to inspire you to do and be and have better. Not my problem when I'm showing and living and being on some level and teaching the solution. Your fucking problem. Don't make it mine. Okay? So put the culpability and onus where it belongs. If you're downtrodden, it's because you keep getting on your knees to suck dick, and your pimped out masters say, look how pathetic and disrespectful you are to yourself and the God you say you serve and this nation and your people, and you deserve to have the boot wiped off on you. It's all you're good for is a doormat. You decided that. You chose that. I've been on the damn Facebook and on here yelling and screaming for 5 years straight on what that doesn't look like, on how to not be that, on how to come out of her, my people, just like the Christed prophet in scripture did. And we saw what Zelle did to him. You cried victim while you had him hung on a fucking cross. Okay? He victimized you with uncomfortable speech about how God lives within all of us and we're all children of the Most High. That's you, Babylonians. Stop blaming other people. Stop making excuses. Stop abdicating your responsibility. Your thoughts on any of that? Questions, comments, concerns, Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same information all the time. It's just, once you realize you got to do something to do your part, that's about it. I mean, it feels overwhelming to think all this stuff's going on and what can I do about it? But what you can do is just whatever makes sense to you. I mean, but do something, just something. And if everybody does a little bit, everybody's playing their part, everybody, that's the message I get from this place all the time, along with knowledge to be able to do it, the encouragement to do it. And that's pretty much what I get out of, your rants and raves when you're, belittling people or whatever, is that the truth hurts. And it's one way for people to self-reflect, because if you just tell
how can I belittle someone? I love these words because you guys will, and I'm not mad about it. I love it. Please understand that I love it. This is me in thrust mode. I love it. Just don't pay attention to my facial expressions and my passion. I'm really loving being dick deep in this, right? I'm just passionate about it.
I'm saying what you just said.
Tell me how I can make a bunch of citizen slaves belittle. How did I do that? Exactly.
Okay, for lack of a better word, it was just that
you don't have the word. You ain't gonna find it. Doesn't exist. You come
across harshly to some people, causing them to introspect, reflect. Right. Whereas the message wouldn't be delivered any other way.
Is it possible that everyone's choosing to be little and do little? So when I speak the truth, they feel belittled? Right. Is it possible? That's all I'm asking. Because I don't see how Paulie Boy, a mere god of all media, could have so much power that he's causing a whole bunch of citizen slaves to belittle or belittled. I'm pretty sure that's their choice. See, they all want me to come here and talk to you like your politicians do and make a victim out of everybody so I can be your hero and you can pay me to save you from what you've created. No, that's not true leadership. I'm reminding you of who and what you are, or what works through you that you can access, that you've ignored, that causes you to be and appear and feel little and insignificant and unimportant and lacking in abundance. It's called God. Hello? Anyone? And then they want to come here and tell me this is a horrible way to preach to people. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Because I'm shaking you up and I'm causing you to look at what the fuck I'm talking about and what the words mean and how it applies to you, whether you want to or not. And you don't have to like me to do that. It's better off you don't like me. It makes the truth more powerful and profound. because there's no way to deny it. They go, this asshole who we don't like is talking truth and we can't deny it. So we better look within and get with it or get fucking lost. And you can't blame me for why you're going to end up little in this life when you're only bigly, as Donnie says, power is walking with the law, the truth of what God has revealed in conscience. Everything else is little and insignificant and doesn't matter in a material form, right? It's deceptive. It's illusory. There is one eternal truth, life, and way here, and it's from the beginning of time till the end of time. And there is one deceptive, disempowering, degrading dynamic that continues to let all people who manifest here feel less than united with God, right? Feel insignificant and powerless. It's the deception that they're under because they're children of the lie. A ward of the state is a child of the lie. The devil is your daddy. Where's Jesse Lee Peterson when I need him? Do you love white people? Let's get to some articles here. And you ain't shaking shit, homie. Your doesn't know the difference between Y-O-U-R-E and Y-O-U-R. It's the first sign that I'm talking to a dunce who thinks they know something. You're just an egotistical asshole. You love the sound of your own voice. Well, then you don't need to be here. Please leave while you're still here. Another person who's not going to get up here while telling me I'm egotistical has no balls and won't confront me face to face and have the conversation. See? This is amazing how you guys always do this. This is why I love doing what I do. You make the truth coming through me an enemy because you don't like how it's said while you go and suck the dick of someone who's going to fuck your child one day. What do you think about that? Does that upset you? Does that make you feel belittled? Is that egotistical, or is that the reality that we're all facing together? What is it about you folks that don't realize we're facing this reality together? Okay. I don't like what I'm saying. I don't even like all the time the way I'm saying it. It's somewhat entertaining and triggering, and it needs to be that because look what you're creating and manifesting. They'll get mad at me, but not the living hell they're creating for themselves and each other and subjecting their damn children to it. I don't have the children. Why do I care and am more passionate than you? That's the question. Why are you so easily angered by me and what I'm saying instead of what's revealed by this truth that I'm laying forth? You should be really pissed off with yourself then, I would think. I'm just talking about the truth we all face that you're creating and not changing, whoever you are out there. Why would you get so easily angry with me rather than yourself and everyone around you and what the truth that you're creating and manifesting has revealed? Fascinating dynamic. You're not fooling anybody. It's just a fucking temper tantrum. Okay? You just don't like what daddy has to offer because it's true and it's challenging to you and you're a punk coward at your core and you're already resigned to getting pimped and cucked and slaved for the rest of your life, and you're going to subject your kids to it too, and you're going to pay to have it done to them. And then you're going to blame me when it all goes bad. Right? Just like you always do. You did the same thing with Jesus. The dynamic's exactly the same. I don't have to fucking walk on water or turn water into wine for it to be the same power and value dynamics, one for one. Okay? What would you have told that being when he came here and said, we're not equally yoked? That's a nice way of saying, go fuck yourself. I'm aligned with I am that am. You're a pathetic slave. That's a nice way of saying it, right? In between telling people, come out of her, my people, out of Babylon, out of the slavery. While you have them strung up and say, give us Barabbas. Barabbas of the time is a Donnie Trump, is a Joe Biden. It is a governor. It is a false witness. It is a illegitimate authority. Nothing has changed. We're literally in the same banker-run, statist, fascist, centralized army-controlled aristocracy. And I use that term in the fraudulent sense. This isn't the best and the brightest. This is some of the most dumbest, most retarded, corrupt, rich people running your lives. And rather than you figure out how you've been enslaved, you get angry at me and then go back to your corporatist job where you submit and go along to get along because they promised you the kingdom if you bend your knee. And maybe take a few more vaxes to keep everyone safe. I'd be pissed off and angry at me and everyone around me and what we're doing and creating and not, instead of getting mad at Paulie Boy for just being the messenger of what you already subconsciously know is true. Any questions, comments, concerns, Aaron? I might have cut you off. You know how I am. I appreciate you allowing me to chimp out from time to time here.
Well, I do want to
of me.
I do want to come with the soft approach and say life is good. I
feel
good.
good.
Good
Gay
things are
things
always
are always happening to
me.
me. I say gay things are always happening to me because that takes me to the next level of like
Happy.
fucking right. That's what gay originally means. Happy.
Yeah.
Wow. You
As
know,
opposed to
I
faggot,
try to
that
act
means
like that
bundle of
doesn't do
sticks.
something to me and for me, but it does. Warms my cold heart just a little bit. Just
It's
a little
good
bit.
stuff.
It is. Kind of is.
Well, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So speak whatever it is that you want into existence, right? People know that, but it's got tremendous power that people don't realize.
Dustin asked me if he can get in on this. Dustin, I don't know where you're at. The link is in description. There's a number right there. You're I guess you're so retarded you can't even figure out how to access me directly. That's where we're at. It makes sense. Hold on, I'm vomiting by just dealing with you. Many of you slaves in your deep retardation and just anger, misdirected anger, starts to get me a little bit, upset internally, and I start vomiting into my own mouth. So let's go to some of the articles. I got a ton up here. I got to get through them. Let's go lightning round. We did the seizing, safety, for terrorism. Donnie laughs and giggles right after making a deal with Pfizer 5 years after one of the biggest deception, genocide, slave campaigns. Because, your daddy's playing 5G chess and he's a white hat. So much so he's in the room laughing and giggling with Billy and the Pfizer reps, and he's doing $70 billion deals, and because he's 5D chessing on you after locking you down and making all the usual suspects richer and richer off the back of your ass. But Dustin and others aren't mad at their daddy Donnie. No. It's Pauly Boy, the false prophet online. He's got to go. Something's got to be done about him. Don't worry, their best people are working on it. They tried a few times with me already, right? Taking my body, taking my property. Good thing I got a silver and gold tongue and a ghostwriting hand, that can pen what is necessary to get it done, right? But that may not always work. Sometime in the future, my silver and gold tongue at court and my ghostwriting hand, my penmanship may not get it done. I may have to sit for a while. And while I sit there for a while, you'll just go about your life, keep voting, paying slave tax, thanking them for your safety and all the rest of it. We know who and what you are and what you're about. See? You think, honestly, that the Prince of Peace who came with a care in his heart but a sword from his tongue would have ever aligned with you and people like you? No. He would have forgiven you for you know not what you do, because, see, you're bringing down karma and judgment on you like the likes of which you've never could have conceived. So I forgive you. You know not what you do. You're so ignorant and arrogant. You think you can do whatever you want to do here and not get it right up your ass by the end of this, by the final act. No, you're going to learn. See, some of us are just ahead of our time. Okay, we understand all roads lead to Rome, proverbially, metaphorically, right? Okay, I said I was going to get to it. Donnie. I want Donnie and Pfizer laughing and joking about sneezing and COVID, because it's all a big fucking joke, right?
This is a really big announcement. This is something that most people said was not doable. And other countries are going along because we told them that if you don't go along, they didn't have to go along. But if they didn't go along, we were going to put extra tariffs on those countries.
No family should ever be forced to choose between filling a prescription and
Just
putting
moron.
food on the table. Americans should not be gouged paying 300 or 400 or 1,000% more.
This is the best we got.
Than people in other
Can't even
countries.
listen to it. It's so ridiculous. This is the best we got. Is the guy who comes up to give a speech and goes, yeah, sure. While they're chugging Coke on the plane and eating McDonald's French fries and all the rest of it. You folks will fucking suck any dick but mine here. It's amazing. Can I get a little play once in a while? Please. I'm asking nicely now. You guys will suck JFK dick, Donnie dick, all of it. I know this was a family broadcast. I had to ruin it. You know what I do. You know how I do, Aaron and others. Yeah, tell us all about Maha. Make America healthy again. Swish. You really hit that one. They're chugging Diet Coke. They're sucking down methylene blue, some hat dyeing product, whatever it is, like the Mad Hatters. did hundreds of years ago. They all went out of their minds and insane in corruption, sucking down fake health remedies that were originally meant to like dye hats. Like these people, you may as well be an alien who landed on another planet searching for intelligence. And the old no intelligence in sight, boss. Back to command, right? Few, if any. So yeah, make America great again by being a bunch of inauthentic corporate fascist males. Make it healthy again by taking Pfizer cancer vaccines and sucking down Pepsi and McDonald's French fries with 42 ingredients. Oh yeah, we're right there. Can't you feel it? Can't you feel how close we are to liberation and co-creation as a whole in mass with your representatives? Sure, it's coming any day. Fuck Trump and the Dems, two wings of the same bird, yet you just attack. Okay, I don't know what you're doing. You're like cursing me out and also trying to prove something to me. Just stop. It doesn't require you to answer me from a chat box. If you want to have the interaction, the number's there, the link is there. Come on up and have the interaction. Stop cycling and spinning. Unfortunately, I can't throw you out from Facebook. I don't know why. This is not a good system. I should write them an email and say, please allow me the ability to throw out Facebook slaves when they're cycling and spinning in my chat, taking up space. I don't know why they won't allow that. No, I won't, he says. I know you won't because you're a coward and you're wasting our time and our space in the chat because you're desperate for attention. I should just stop focusing on you. Maybe you'll just go away. You'll go find another daddy to vote for. Pope blesses a chunk of ice on camera, sparks ridicule. You would think that when I read a lot of these headlines or go to these articles that it's some kind of like satire. And this is why I say, as P.T. Burnham, not Barnum, Burnham, although Barnum works too, right? Like as in a bunch of animals, But I'm like referencing, it's a takeoff, tongue-in-cheek of like scripture that on the second wave of cleansing, it won't be water, it'll be fire this time. So it's like P.T. Burnham at the worldwide circus, and the greatest show is Earth. Barnum works too. Take all the wicked animals who don't know God, right? Don't know themselves, and just put them all in a fucking barn, right? Keep them safe. Animals are safest when you lock them up in a barn. I've learned that. A lot going on there. I don't know if people follow me when I do my kind of schizophrenic free association, make connections that maybe don't exist outside of my mind. Yeah, let's bless some ice chunks because we got climate change to deal with here. This is top of the list.
Pope Leo XIV is under the spotlight for blessing a block of ice at an event near Rome, urging action on climate change and global leaders to act decisively. The Pope attended the 10th anniversary celebration of the late Pope Francis's climate summit, which helped set the tone for the 2015 Paris Climate Agreement. He was joined on stage by actor and former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, who watched as Leo placed his hand on a large chunk of ice taken from a melting glacier in Greenland.
Right.
Lord of life, bless this water. May it awaken our hearts, cleanse our indifference, soothe our grief, and renew our hope through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Pope Leo presided over the gathering, which brought together around 1,000 representatives from environmental and indigenous groups. At the event, the pontiff spoke at length on climate change, just days after U.S. President Donald Trump said at the UN General Assembly that it's a con job of global warming, dismissing renewable energy initiatives. Pope Leo also quoted his predecessor, Pope Francis's follow-up published in 2023, in which the Argentinian Pope challenged world leaders before a UN conference to commit to binding targets to slow climate change before it gets too late. Pope's blessing to the ice block drew both admiration and ridicule online. Some conservatives mocked the ritual, while others questioned the appropriateness of a pope engaging in symbolic environmental acts.
I'm now labeled again. Every time I have a commentary on something, I catch a label. I must be a conservative Republican now because I question the blessing of a block of ice. Okay. I just came up with a new movement on the fly because I'm a fucking creative genius. There's no denying that. Bow before me, your god of all media. Donald Trump ruined America. Call in if I'm missing something. No, but this isn't the right one. Oh, man. What is that now? Why is that happening? There it is. Okay, I had to restart it. Donald Trump is you, daddy. No, I gotta redo that. I thought I was a creative genius for like 3 seconds there. I felt like RFK on the private first class flight just sucking down methylene blue. I felt real powerful there for a second. It just dipped right off. Okay. Well, actually, that might be the correct way of phrasing it because I just came up with a MASA movement, MASA for short. It's MASA. And it's Make America Slaved Again, right? MASA for short. I think that works perfectly. You know, like the black folks used to say MASA. You get where I'm going with that. So maybe it's perfect that it's Donald Trump is yo daddy is what it is. That's what it is. Okay. I just got it. That's what it needs to be. I was right for the wrong reasons the first time. Donald Trump is yo daddy and we're doing MASA. Make America Slaved Again. Am I missing something? Call in now, 602-730-0122. Maybe you know something I don't. There's a good chance that's possible. You've seen it so many times before. I made a mistake when I made man. God checking in now. Thank you, God, for being here. And that's evident. That's self-evident, right? And I'm somewhat kidding, right? Is it that God made a mistake, or is that man has taken over for God of creation and even its law and supposed its own policy and code and is doing things its way instead of the way, right? Is it maybe possible that that's what we have going on here? Here we go. Dustin can't leave. He can't go away. He needs more attention now than ever. I guess we'll oblige him, right? This is now his broadcast. The child has jumped up on the coffee table to wring his hands and teach daddy a lesson. You are terrified of somebody that challenges your dominant position of your own world. I agree with so much you say, but your ego, it's completely oversized and ungodly, and I am a sinner through and through. You will never make a true movement when you put down anybody. Again, my ego and arrogance is through the roof while he tells me I will never make or be part of a movement that's already underway. This guy's proof of it, and dozens of others who've come here who've gotten results at court the same way I have. You're the arrogant, egotistical prick who's already decided reality for all of us while the facts show something completely different. Keep your lowly, sinning ass where it belongs with your false modesty, humbleness, and humility. Because when the mask slips, we get the real ignorant, arrogant you masquerading as some godly person. You guys are beyond pathetic, embarrassing, and laughable. You reveal your character every time you fucking type and speak. See, a lot of you can't figure out this is a veneer here, right? Like I could get here in my life, but most of the times in my life, I'm not going around yelling and screaming and being a bit performative and calling people dunces and all the rest of it. I'm rather reserved in my own way. I'm rather loving and caring in my own way. This is a bit of a performance here in a sense. I'm letting it all fly free at times. I'm letting it all hang out. It's raw and uncut and it's played up a bit. Doesn't mean that I'm not even tapping into or exploring a bitter or resentful aspect of me. I don't even deny that when I do that to do this broadcast, it may have deleterious effects on me and my body. But please understand that when I leave here, I do pause and reflect and I go within, right? And I try to refocus myself on what being a more well-rounded, holistic, balanced man and human being looks like. Okay. So you're actually deceived once again, because I have to tell you and many others over and over again that this is maybe an aspect of me and I do play it up a bit and it may be authentic, but it's not the whole of who and what I am. And I'm almost doing a bit non-bit at times, playing off of the ego, right? And then kind of drawing the conclusion between what is true value and empowerment and co-creation versus what is false value and empowerment and corruption. This is why I say I'm the best ever. No one's better than me. It's taking a little bit of an aspect of myself and blowing it up completely and being almost absurdist in the presentment. I'm doing a Donnie. See, when Donnie does it, you guys don't mind. You say, look at Donnie, so funny and interesting. And he's almost playing it up a bit, that he knows everything about grass, you know, and everything else. You guys love it. You love the false confidence from him. When I show up truly confident in a certain core value system, understanding and dynamic, and play it up a bit for the venue, he's got way too much ego. Let's cycle in his chat and try to beat him back into position. You want me to show up here in the lotus position like this? Not be at all performative? Don't play it up at all? Just what? Sit here with some monotone presentment? You don't want me to test you and challenge you and call you out? Again, this is a metaphorical fight club in a way, to stick with the intro today, right? So it's not the whole of who and what we are. When we leave here, we might even cry into Bob's big breasts. Wasn't that one of the points in the movie where Edward Norton was hugging Bob with his big breasts? He was crying. So please, I don't know if I'm making any sense. I could show you better than I could tell you, and we could draw the kind of conclusion and see the juxtaposition. Not everything is what it seems. The best way to put it, right? So I almost have to get into a space and get into a mode, or I just freely go into that mode to do this broadcast the way that I do it. And I kind of like the way that I do it. And so do many others. And they kind of see past the presentment and the character veneer at times, right? The mask, non-mask that I wear. And they know that at the core of my beingness is probably a bit of a different sentiment, right? It just comes out this way. Daddy's not always the most functional being when it comes to his co-creations and presentments. He allows his passion to take over at times, you know? And you may have a point, right? This broadcast being as extreme as it is, and what I go to almost allows me a point of reference to reflect back and see kind of the other side of me and the whole experience, right? It's many things. I can't quite understand me and what I'm doing here all the time and language it out, right? But you may know something and may be onto something that I'm not, right? And I may be putting myself in judgment by being here and speaking the way that I'm speaking. I have contemplated that, you know. I've toiled with that. I've wrestled with that at times. D.H. Jones, your thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
No, I just wanted to say that one person or whatever, man or woman you were talking to, tell them to shut the fuck up, because we're all standing up now. And like you said, we all have to grab our balls. You know what I mean? Well, at least us men and shit. I mean, really, they talk the talk, but don't do the fucking walk. Excuse my language. And I wanted to show you something. I'm just getting this prepared right now.
Justin, again, commenting, no, just be real. My point exactly. Pretty sure you tapped out. Well, it's, again, I will try again to explain and maybe I'm just searching for excuses of why I'm not as real as I could be here. But it is equivalent at times to a minister or a pastor preaching, where it is an authentic sentiment about an authentic way that they're living and something they're passionate about that is a bit performative. It doesn't mean they're not being real. Doesn't mean they don't believe or know what they're saying. Doesn't mean they don't have that life experience. It's a way of presenting it. See? So that's the best way I could describe it for you. And again, it's not completely inauthentic to me. This is an aspect of me that I blow up and make the whole of me for the presentment. It's just an aspect of me. It's not the whole of me. Right? So again, being a more real or tempered, balanced, and centered version of myself here may not be as entertaining. Hell, I brought up Mark Passio earlier. He might be a perfect example of that. When he comes on screen, it's almost impossible to ignore that you're doing a broadcast and you have a microphone and a camera in front of you. It invokes on a subconscious level a performative aspect of our beingness. I don't care how subtle it is. Okay, so if you want to challenge me to use this place to be more centered and balanced and real, I've done that at times. Way less performative, right? Whatever. You know, it's just kind of where I'm at and what I'm feeling and what I kind of want to do or what it becomes. Okay. But again, I'm not quite sure how my performative ways and tapping into an aspect of myself to describe a real reality and a real condition that we all face is what you're primarily focused on here today. And folks like you in general. You know, and maybe I should appreciate that in a way. It's like, you know, maybe you're sent here to like give me an understanding and a message, or remind me of an understanding and a message that I've toiled with or been challenged by in the past, to get to a different position in myself and with this broadcast. I'm open to that as well. So yeah, I'm willing, if you ask, to answer, or if you're going to speculate, to try to give you my understanding, but that would be presuming that I completely understand this place, myself, who or what I am completely, and what I'm doing at all time. And that may seem like a common sense claim, but I started out this broadcast by contending that most of us, if not all of us, don't know completely who and what we are, why we're here, and what we're doing at any one time. We just think we do. So I might be doing that right now. I guess hold me accountable, keep me honest. One thing I will tell you is, when I'm in my mode and I'm preaching, non-preaching, and I'm very passionate and direct and even a bit obnoxious and rude, boy, those numbers go up and stay up. See? So maybe that's part of what it is. You're right. I am egotistical because I consider the numbers at times to be a metric of some level of success if I can hold the audience and keep them interested in whatever I'm saying to deliver a message that's very real for all of us. I contend that if I was to tone it down a bit and not be as performative with my hands and not just let it hang out and fly free, people would start to get bored. They'd be less entertained. You know, they wouldn't be as open to being tested and challenged and getting into an engagement and interaction with me where more truth can be revealed, right? So I guess the question would be, who or what is using who or what? Am I using it? Is it using me? Or is there a third option here, if that makes sense? All right, questions, comments, concerns, getting where you guys fit in. I keep saying I'm going to go to these. Fuck entertainment. Dustin won't let me go. He won't let me go, this guy. Fuck entertainment. We need truth. And you do well at that, brother. You really do, truly. You are intelligent. I wouldn't be sitting here listening if I didn't agree with you. I've been down the rabbit hole, homie. Again, I'd prefer if you could just come up and we could stop the text relationship here and just talk as men. Since you want to get me right, I'm literally open to it. And this is what this place is for, fellowship, if nothing else, in between me preaching and doing entertainment, infotainment. Okay? So, and again, I thought I was the egotistical, arrogant one because Dustin once again decided what the rest of the audience wanted and needed. The weirdest thing. See how that works? Dustin has decided that the whole audience doesn't want entertainment, doesn't need that. That Paulie boy is so great at truth that he should just sit back, kick his feet up, smoke a cigar, put on some jazz music, and we should just socialize and talk truth like I'm on a Zoom call. This is a broadcast. There's an entertainment component. It's what keeps people interested and engaged and somewhat lighthearted while also feeling the poignancy of the harsh truth they're challenged by. And I get to be their devil and their enemy to test and challenge them on the God they serve or don't serve. That's the point of me playing God of all media here. Sometimes I invoke the God of creation. Sometimes I invoke the Lucifere, right? That's the game non-game, if that makes sense. But Dustin doesn't like that. Dustin's not into that. Dustin is going to be my new producer, but won't get up here to talk to me directly. This is odd. I'm open to it. I want it. Give it to me if I need it. You can even produce for me if necessary. Keep me in alignment. Keep me right. We can't get you out of the chat scrolling and cycling. Please, I'm asking you, have the interaction with me. He keeps saying, how? That's the fourth time he's asked how. And I keep posting links and posting numbers. Again, not a good sign for me. For my new producer, can't figure out how to get on the damn phone and call the number or get on panel. Not a good prognosis for where this is going. 602-730-0122. I will entertain as least as possible so that we can talk truth. If that's what apparently is needed, that's what's necessary. Now, how are you going to stop me from being odd looking and entertaining by the fact that I'm an albino gorilla creature? How are we going to stop that? Do I come on here with a fucking bag over my head tomorrow? Because, you know, there's a lot of folks who come here and they go, Paulie boy, you're odd looking. You look like an albino gorilla. That's entertaining to us. And I go, stop it. Please, stop being entertained. You know, I'm odd looking. I have an albino gorilla look to me. I'm now bagging my face. I'm going to come on with a beekeeper mask like Baba Booey used to do back in the day. Because we have to stamp out all forms of entertainment here. No entertainment at all. Okay? Can't happen. He keeps saying, post the number. I'm no producer. No kidding. You're also not a big fan of sarcasm. No more sarcasm. That's an extension of entertainment. Stop it now. Believe it or not, I know you're not a producer. You're not producing anything here but chaos and confusion. You're making little sense. What am I going to do with these people? Why do I even give them the time of day? That's the real question. That's what every other content creator is asking themselves and me right now. How do you even give these people the time of day? We don't. I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. I try to love these people and accept them the way they are while also engaging, testing, and challenging. And I get this. Oh, well, it's my fault. We don't. That's you. And you are awesome for that. Fuck the haters. He's now bigging me up. I don't know what that is. Christians always do that. They insult me, they demean me, they devalue me, they try to change me in my broadcast, and they tell me how great I am afterward. Kind of fucking power game. I'm not quite sure what to do with it. But numbers are dropping, Dustin, because I'm reading your shitty comments, and I'm changing the way that I'm doing my broadcast. Let's get to the clips, and then I think I'm going to get out of here. We're approaching the 3rd hour already. Time flies when you're not having fun, because it's not allowed here anymore, Dustin says. It's another thing people don't get. When I do this broadcast, I like it to go by quick. That means I'm in the pocket. I'm in a flow space, right? So like when I get on here and I like yap and go to the stuff and I'm moving and shaking and I turn around and 3 hours went by, I go, I know I did something right. And I'm guessing the same experience is true for the audience. See? It tends to be one and the same. If not, if I do what you do and what you say, I'm like, feels like I'm here a lifetime. I go, are we there yet? Is it 3 hours yet? You know? So like I'm having fun, Dustin. Please allow me in my bitterness and resentment and my rudeness and obnoxious way to have fun. This is how I have fun at the Metaphorical Fight Club. This is why Carl Lentz is here regularly. He's also a very dysfunctional creature like I am. Had a lot of trauma growing up. And this is part of how he has fun at times, by being obnoxious, being a loudmouth, ranting, rambling, calling you people a bunch of slaves. The shoe fits, wear it. If it doesn't, leave it where I left it. See how that works? Let's get to it, Aaron. I just keep yapping. I just keep trying to love Dustin. He keeps trying to love me. We can't get it done. Never-ending love, non-love story. President Trump. Go ahead.
I just think Dustin. Do you know Dustin from before today?
No,
Okay,
quite frankly, I don't want to know Dustin.
I think that he just might be trolling because he's had every opportunity to come up.
All right, he's stopping now. He's letting me be. He's allowing me to go back to. I'm vomiting again. He's allowing me to go back to doing my broadcast. Thank you, Dustin. He says, "Well, damn, man. I'm sorry, brother. I love you, pal." Well, thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. And I appreciate you loving me enough to let me be who and what I am, as dysfunctional as I am, and do the fucked up, rude, obnoxious, entertaining broadcasts that I've been doing for 3 to 5 years now. Yeah. Appreciate it. You're here for us. Numbers are going down because he won't let me talk. Carl apparently sniffing gas again. I made that up. I don't know that he does that, but in this scenario of this entertainment sort of imagery I have, Carl is sitting at his kitchen table. He has no other furniture, just a chair and a table. He's a very simple man on the farm, and he's huffing gas, and he's fucking hallucinating again, right? Something that goes on here regularly. So, Carl, I hope you brought enough for everybody. Pass that gas can around. We're getting high tonight. Isn't that a song back in the day? Captain Carl can get you high tonight. Take you to your slaved out island. All right. Oh, it should be Epstein Island. Take you to your Epstein Island, right? That's one of these days I'm going to go live on the ground. I have so many ideas. I never get to any of them. They say it's because I can't get out of the chair. They might be right. Haven't tried. I wake up, I sleep. I wake up, I sleep. I never leave the chair. The comfort of the broadcasting hub. But I have this dream, among many, that one day I will go live on the ground and I'll have a list of classic songs that I will have remixed to include a lot of the stuff that we've been experiencing, like Epstein Island, for instance, and other things. Okay. Who knows how the hell I got there? But we're going to continue. 5G arson rampage continues in Belfast. 16th 5G mast has been set alight twice in the same night. One of them has. So I'm not supporting that. I'm not promoting that, but that's one way to handle a potential encroaching problem. And that's probably very illegal. So watch out for that. No narrator on this? All right. Inspiring music. There's a 5G tower. There's the base of the tower. Tower again. All right. There you have it. So yeah, Irish folks not big on slavery and control and domination. They have a history of that. I'm like half Irish, so that makes sense. And they've decided, hey, if you're not going to listen to us and you're not going to do the right thing, maybe we just burn shit down and help you out, make it a lot easier for you. Again, probably shouldn't do that. It's very illegal. You're going to get yourself in trouble. And some might say that the 5G towers and the chemtrails are modern day ovens in a Cold War Holocaust. I won't say that right now, right here. Some folks have said that. It's very conspiratorial. Trump signals for the use of military in U.S. cities because we're going to violate posse comitatus and put troops on the ground, and we're going to use policy and code to interfere with everybody's property and rights for safety.
This morning to
Everybody
address
knows more about fascism
the
than
senior
I.
leadership of what is once again known around the world as the Department of War. Together with
Department
many
of
of you
War.
in the room, we've brought back the fundamental principle that defending the homeland is the military's first and most important priority. That's what it is. Only in recent decades did politicians somehow come to believe that our job is to police the far reaches of Kenya and Somalia, while America is under invasion from within. We're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. These people don't have uniforms. But we are under invasion from within. We're stopping it very quickly. After spending trillions of dollars defending the borders of foreign countries, with your help, we're defending the borders of our country from now on. But we're running it based on...
All right. We got to stop the brown people coming here without documentation to do all the jobs that the white slaves don't want to do for half the price, right? Got to stop that. What are we going to do? And again, they're always gaslighting you, talking about the war within and the overthrow, and then redirecting it onto the brown illegals. No, the war within and the overthrow is the statute, policy, and code, and the corporatists taking over the country known as America with a foreign corporation, District of Columbia, United States Corporation, and subjecting all the men and women on the land to policy and code while overriding the law of the land. That's the true corporatist fascist takeover. That's destroying America for profit. Nobody knows more about profit than I do. There's no denying it. We know, Don. We know. So watch for that. Watch for the gaslighting and misdirect and redirect. And the complete denial of the real problem while they project onto you when you come up with the solution that you're a damn soft terrorist. Don't you know? All right. CIA whistleblower, a couple more Robert Steeles, and then I think I'm out of here.
We've set out to overthrow functioning constitutional democracies in over 20 countries. We manipulated elections in dozens of countries. We created standing armies and directed them to fight. We went after to organize ethnic minorities to encourage them to revolt. The first thing we did in Nicaragua was to go to the Mosquito Indians, who had never gotten along with the other people in Nicaragua very well, and give them more money than they had seen in the entirety of history, and arms and training and rationales and sanctuaries in Honduras, and sent them into Nicaragua to attack, kill, fight, rape, burn, pillage. And this has been a technique the CIA has used in Nicaragua, in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Laos, in the Congo.
And the United States. Anyone? Anyone. This guy, CIA, FBI whistleblower, he's on the inside. He thought he was going to come tell all you slaves about how this shit works and you would immediately change. Over a long enough period of time that's happening, right? He's telling you from the inside, this is what the corporation does. And it does it everywhere. Do you think maybe it's possible they're doing it here? Just asking. Literally everything he just said is what I just said. I'm not CIA, FBI, in case you're wondering. But somehow or another, we're agreeing here. Because that's the truth. Right? So hate to burst everyone's bubble. This is what democracy is. This is what it does as a corporate activity. And it's doing it everywhere right now more than ever. And it has you all convinced that you should be part of it and you should keep supplying it and backing it and repeating the narratives of it. Isn't that fascinating?
In Iran, Iraq, with the Kurds in different parts of the world. We created, trained, and funded death squads like the Treasury Police in El Salvador.
Is that what you mean?
And we've assassinated world leaders, including the United States president in 1963. And I'll get to that in more detail in just a moment. You can never be sure how many people are killed in the jungles of Laos or the hills of Nicaragua. But adding them up as best we can, we come up with a figure of 6 million people killed, minimum figure. It has to be more than that. These things are all done in countries of the third world where the governments don't have the power to force the United States to stop destabilizing the country and brutalizing their people. We've set out to overthrow functioning constitution.
Anybody notice how over the past year or two, this whole state of Israel edifice just came forward out of nowhere and just took over everything? While they're all on the list because they're all bribed out. Isn't that interesting how that all took place? And it's all over Hamas, don't you know? As the guy says, we arm the rebels every time so they attack us and then we blame them and then we do war on the citizens. We do corporate takeover. They're doing it again. Some might say they did it on 9/11. They did it with the Mujahideen before that. Then they did it with the Taliban. Then it was Al-Qaeda. Then it was ISIS. Now it's Hamas. The hummus is coming to get us. The bean dip is on its way at any moment. Is it maybe these people doing it over and over again? Is it maybe these people who literally are on record leaving all the U.S. weapons out in the desert and then going home? And they go, why did you leave everything? And Donnie's up there going, we don't know why they left everything. This is Sleepy Joe. He's just too stupid. No, you guys are working together to fund the terrorists so you can take everybody's rights. What the fuck was that? Coming in here right now. It's not just some weird noise I just heard. Like someone's breaking in here. They could literally pull me off this broadcast right now and, and lock me up forever. And they go, see, Paulie Boy shouldn't have been talking about how they keep funding all the terrorists to attack us and then blame it on them so they can do war on their own citizens, take their rights and property. I know. Silly me. I shouldn't bring that shit up. It was way too patriotic in here for me to bring this shit up. I get it. Okay, Donnie saying he's designating Antifa a terror organization because he walked into a restaurant a couple weeks ago and some women said that he was a loser and a lowlife. And then he tried to say these women were very dangerous. They dared question him, right? After he said that he wants to be just like Kim Jong-il, you know, when he talks, his people listen without questioning. He said he wants that. He said he wants to be a dictator, right? While the MAGA-tards are on the ground, I got clips of it from this week saying, we need a dictator on America now more than ever. We're here, folks. We're here in Cold War Holocaust Central, okay? The tards, the patriot tards are on the ground saying we need a dictator more than ever. The guy in office is saying he needs to be a dictator more than ever. And they're now designating all the people who disagree with them terrorists and terrorist affiliated groups so they can maybe have something done to them. It's not going to go over well. Okay.
And a woman, in many cases, women, you can see they're professional agitators. I had one the other night. I had 4 the other night, all in one group, total phonies. I started to scream when I got into a restaurant, oh, you know, something with Palestine.
Something with
Palestine. I said, well, I'm doing
whatever.
a great job for peace in the Middle East. I should get lots of awards for that, right? With the Abraham Accords and everything else. Sure. But a woman just stood up and started screaming. And she got booed out of the place, too. The people, there were a lot of people in the restaurant. I went there to show how safe, and it was safe. I mean, the woman is just a mouthpiece. All she was a paid agitator. And you have a lot of them. And I've asked Pam to look into that in terms of RICO, bringing RICO cases against the criminal RICO, because they should be put in jail. What they're doing to this country is really subversive. And a woman in
you know, if you question Donnie's takeover of Palestine to glass parking lot it and turn it into a beachfront resort for profit once again, and the weaponized starvation and the shooting of women and children and all the rest of it, well, you're a fucking defective. You're a subversive. You may as well be one of these leftard liberals, Antifa terrorists. You know, you may as well be BLM'd out with George Soros, right? God forbid. Jimmy Shively coming in with an appreciation for myself and what I do, he says, and he thanks me. Thank you, Mr. Shively. If you wish to contribute and support to the broadcast, there are links up top. I'll give you guys 4 or 5 different ways. Still not enough. Someone contacted me yesterday. Do you have Buy Me a Coffee app? Do you have the Buy Me a Coffee? No, I don't have that. Well, you need to get it. I don't have anything else. I go, okay. Guess I'll link in to Buy Me a Coffee. Do I have to give him my social security number and a biometric fingerprint for that? I have to find out. Right? That Donnie's not worrying about, the face scanning, the biometrics, the tracking and tracing, the Skynet with Elon and all the rest of it. That's not a problem. It was the woman eating a pastrami sandwich who looked up and said, there's Trump, the terrorist, who's calling everyone a terrorist while he's doing genocide and slavery. She's the problem. Something's got to be done. But these not nice people, these people. Very nasty people. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, let's hold the mirror up. Why not? There's a chance that one person out there might get it. We're here for. We're here for you. Inflation. Now, I want you to imagine something. Just imagine things got real crazy and Kamala was in office. No one likes that. If Kamala was in office, this is what we would be hearing, and this is what we'd be dealing with. Inflation would be increasing every month. Government spending would be out of control. Our national debt would be higher than it was under any other president. Our freedom of speech would be under attack as she militarized federal agencies, deeming dissent as hate speech. She would have passed the highest tax increase in the history of America. She would have deployed the military against us in our own cities and communities. She would have bankrupted our treasury, sending billions in foreign aid to countries that hate us. She would ensure that wars we were involved in would continue indefinitely. She would have bypassed Congress and our Constitution to start new conflicts overseas. She would have alienated our allies and trade partners at the expense of our economy. Her economic policies would have bankrupted our farmers. She would have tried to have had significant cuts to our health care and Social Security. Under her, the nation would have been divided like never before. The only problem is that's everything that happened with Donald Trump. See how it works? And you patriotards will go right along with something you would have bitched and complained about simply because your daddy's in office doing it. Showing how culted and cucked out you are and hypocritical you are, okay? But I wasn't supposed to bring that up. Next, Laura Luma and other patriotards are on the front line online calling for the next terror attack, saying things like, just got a call, can't say who. This is bigger than 9/11. I'm not exaggerating. Stay alert. So they're all admitting that they're all a part of and conspiring with some way, somehow, groups who are going to do terror attacks and blame it on people. That used to be a crime. When you had a direct knowledge of something about to take place and you weren't specific about it, okay, and then you caused fear and panic in everybody, it used to be a crime, non-crime. Not anymore. Not if you're a patriotard influencer on Twitter. Okay. We can't figure out where the line is here, how this all works when it comes to psychological operations. I don't know either. I'm just asking a question. We got Charlie Kirk's wife out there doing the world tour, cashing in. Did another GoFundMe. 6 million wasn't enough. Hitler once said that. I'm talking dollars, people. Get your mind out of the gutter. The only problem with Charlie Kirk is, and again, this is from our sources, correct me if I'm wrong, keep me honest. Charlie Kirk had no coroner report, no church funeral, no burial site or grave, no official death certificate, no ballistics report, not a single eyewitness on the record. And an award-winning widow is already taking over his show with the likes of Ben, what's his name? The guy who wants to fuck his sister? That's what I know him as. Ben, the guy who wants to fuck his sister. Shapiro, that's it. I knew I'd get it. And a bunch of other potential inside-out state of Israel agents, some might say. Okay? Was it all a hoax? We don't really know, right? Was Charlie a real thing? I mean, there's pictures going around with different teeth and gum lines and all the rest of it. More nonsense. We don't know which way's up or down at this point. We don't know real from fake. Okay? But that's not going to stop people from fighting and arguing about it online while they run off with all your property and rights and install new media arms, media relations campaigns to do more psyops so that Ted Cruz can come out and give you a unifying message. Do I still have it up there? Every so often, we got to go back to this message. It's a feel-good message. I'm going to leave it up here this time. I keep taking it down. Right.
Also said we should have bipartisan agreement. I think that's a great idea. We should have bipartisan agreement. How about we all come together and say, let's stop murders?
Right.
How about we all come together and say, let's stop rape?
Right.
How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles?
Wow. Okay.
I want you to look at what happened when the National Guard went to D.C.
Can't make this shit up. So I'm gonna keep that. That's not my favorite video is the one with the like the voice before it and after it, and it makes you feel all warm inside. A patriotic unifying message. Let's stop attacking pedophiles. And then Dustin comes here and goes, would you stop being bitter and resentful and reporting this stuff in any kind of sarcastic or entertaining way? I go, I'm in a literal freak show slaughterhouse. Circus. Metaphorically, of course. Everything is metaphorical. Hopefully I did that in a way that Dustin approves of. By the way, your mother is an asshole. Like, why did you have to be Dustin instead of Justin? What is that? Justin wasn't good enough for the longest time. I think there was a conqueror, wasn't there? Named after the name Justin? I believe there was. And then all of a sudden, your mom and people like your mom. This is how I know your whole family tree is annoying, just like you. Justin wasn't good enough. Named after a conqueror. Oh, my baby's name is Dustin. That's annoying. I don't support that. I just want to be clear. I know more about names than anyone, and I don't support that. The name Dustin is probably leftist, probably an Antifa person. Not a nice person, by the way. A lot of fake news down there about me. Okay. Fuck you, Dustin, and everyone who's like you and whoever named you. Okay? That's with love from me to you. Spirit Airlines. What do we got with Spirit Airlines? I always make the joke when you fly Spirit Airlines, it's called Spirit because it will force you to become religious. You will believe in God or the devil by the end of it. You ever been packed into one of those flights? It's a fucking horror show. Slaves breathing hot air on you. There's like no AC half the time. There's no ventilation. Fucking seats are so tiny that I almost have to get a second seat. I don't know what these really obese people do. I'm semi-obese. The really obese ones, they're completely assed out. Pun intended, I guess. Government shutdown hits airports and there's no more traffic controllers. Like, this is really real. This is my reality. Government corporation shuts down and the traffic controllers don't show up to work anymore. So planes just like fly around all day. They never land. They take off because that's the easy part. And then when they go to land, they go, oh, no one's there. Government shutdown. They just fly in circles. So they run out of gas and they just fall out of the sky all in one moment. This is where we're at, people. Imagine a world where we just privatized everything again and people just like ran business and the government wasn't in everybody's fucking pocket telling everybody how to do like regular basic life skills and abilities. Imagine that world. You know, we can dream, can't we? Used to be called America. CBS, good morning. Where's my sound?
This country, nearly 6,000 flights were delayed yesterday, some due to staffing issues with workers who are not getting paid. Last night, one airport near Los Angeles went several hours without air traffic controllers in the tower. Chris Van Cleve is at the Phoenix airport with the latest on these disruptions. That's not good, Chris. Good morning to you.
Well, good morning. We are seeing air traffic control staffing issues now several days in a row, often in places that don't typically have staffing issues, like here in Phoenix that saw about 250 delays coming in and out of this airport yesterday. And in California, one major airport tower went to ATC 0.
So there I was, scrolling eBay.
When I saw this.
Still in the box. It's like the exact
Facebook
same.
has ads on me. You know what? Forget it. It didn't happen. I'm done. ATZ. What is that? Isn't that like AIDS medication? AZT? We went to AZT 0 tonight. Barack Obama didn't get his meds. Michael didn't lay out his meds for the week. God forbid. Little 80s jokes there for the folks back in the day. Remember AZT? A lot of you younger folks don't remember that. My cultural references are sound historically. No denying that. The man behind digital ID push, Larry Ellison, owner of Oracle, CBS, CNN, and soon TikTok, wants data centralization and total surveillance and says, quote, citizens will be on their best behavior because we'll be constantly watching and recording everything that's going on. Totally. I totally can see how the more we just infringe on everybody's rights and privacy and abilities, that everyone's going to immediately just change overnight and be on their best behavior, including policy enforcement too. I think they even like carrot stick you with that in this. They go, police are going to be on their best behavior once we track and trace and infringe on everybody's privacy. By the way, was anybody there? Has anybody else gotten the notification? I guess I'm going to reveal myself here today, but you can't watch porn anymore without like, and I'm not going to tell you how I know this. Let's just say I've done a fair bit of research in my time. But just this week, the last 2 weeks, you can't watch porn anymore without giving government ID. And I'm kind of wondering, is this like more godly or less godly? You know, I'm a Christian. I'm a Catholic raised Christian at this point. I prefer my porn to be watched without government ID. Okay? I'm a godly man. I want to be godly here. They don't want that now. They're doing New World Order on me. You know, me and Alan Vance, not together. I mean, separately, maybe this week, maybe last week, who knows? It's a metaphorical simulation, or it's not now I'm misusing the word metaphorical, whatever. It was the simulation that I'm doing right now. And in my head, you know, we went to go watch porn and love ourselves potentially. And now we can't because we need government ID. What's the deal with that? What's going on? I want comments in the chat on that. Like, do you think that this is legitimate governance? You think we need this now more than ever? Because like porn's bad for me and everyone else. They're doing us a favor, keeping us safe. You know, maybe we like go to God with that. I don't know. Do we go to God with masturbation? I don't know how a lot of this shit works. I don't pretend to. I'm just asking questions. I know what I know. I know what I don't know. That's the mark of a wise man. Aaron, if you got any comments on that, Chile is a whatever. I'm not even gonna get into it. They're losing their mind in chat right now. See, you bring up a porn and government ID, people just lose their fucking mind. Pornography invites demons into your soul. So does dating in the modern day world. Have you not seen this? No? Let me just direct your attention to this dating app on Facebook that I signed up for. It's a complete fuck show or lack thereof. Complete circus. Asylum. vaxxers, maskers, statists, fascists. Oh, we got a call. Looky there. About fucking time. Yes, hi, 714. You've reached 1013 WSLV. Your caller 666. How are you?
How are you doing? I'm good. I'm like, oh, I'm not doing anything today. I come across the live stream. I'm like, all right, I'm curious. What's the topic of the day?
The topic of the day is how dare these statist, fascist, demonic scum take away my porn, which is one of the most core American values that you're going to find, right? No one knows
right.
more about porn than I do. Let's be honest. These people know it.
I make the best porn. You're never going to believe it. The best porn.
I have the biggest penis of anyone. I make the best porn.
Love him.
See, this guy gets it right off the bat. This guy's a real American. He's a sir. I want you to stop talking right now so I can heap adulation and adoration on you. You are a great American. I'm going to salute you right now, like Sean Hannity would. Where do you stand on this, sir? Knowing that I, as well, just like you, make the best porn ever and have probably the biggest penis here. There's no denying it.
Hell yeah.
I know more about it than anyone, right?
Yeah.
So should we be verified and government ID'd when we go to have a wank, as Alan would probably say in his Irish way? Is that a good thing? It's just wrapped in something we don't like? Is this all bad? Is this a harbinger of things to come? Like if I want to watch, let's say, PewDiePie later today and I got a government ID, I'm not into that,
Me personally, I absolutely view it as a harbinger of things to come. Like on a surface level, yeah, great idea. That way you're not having kids or, fucking wackos going online and looking up shit they ought not to, right? But with the trickle-down effect, the internet is supposed to be the Wild West, for a reason. It's supposed to be the embodiment of free speech. Like, if we have the First Amendment, what we post, what we say, what we do, all the actions that we take on the internet, there's always consequence. But the matter of the fact is like, suddenly, the U.S. government starts saying, we got to log you. We need to track you for just for this. But then it starts spreading into more things like, you're going to go onto the Ralph store website, look for your coupons and shit. It's like, we got to ID you.
No, sir. It's more insidious than that. These people want to track and trace my porn searches and connect me to Black Lives Matter if I search BBC porn. I know what they're up to. They're going to say, guys, Black Lives Matter. He's Antifa. He has his porn searches. We know all about it.
We know you like the big black Latinas.
Nobody knows more about BBC than I do. He does the hand thing. He knows more about it.
Oh, man.
Who knows?
It's like, hey, man, if my favorite
Republicans are now jacking off to Donald Trump in record numbers because they're no longer allowed to get porn. That's the report. They've all stopped jacking off to porn. They're all jacking off to Donald Trump and ICE. Overnight.
You know what's crazy about that is with Donald Trump's growing dementia symptoms, it becomes a bit of a weird fetish because now you're jacking off to like a mentally ill dude, and it's like, what does that say about you? That's kind of weird what they're doing.
I got a crowd here right now. They don't seem to be fazed by it. They're now chanting "U.S. slave" in pure Americana fashion. Yeah, U.S. slave. You can't hear it on your end because it's a different feed, but on the other feed you'll hear it. They're actually here right now just chanting "U.S. slave."
Good grief.
Yeah, we're going backward to go forward, people. This is a Renaissance era of Christianity and Catholicism and patriotism. So no more jacking off to digital porn. Only to American flag, non-flags, flags of the corporation. Only to Donald Trump. Go ahead. What else?
You can only jerk off at the American graves where all the American flags are at.
Right.
Those are people who are worth jacking off to. They gave their lives for this country, for your American porn.
Right. And also Wailing Wall. And Wailing Wall. If you want to go to Wailing Wall, put the little hat on and jack your baby meat, because your genitals are so shrunken from the atrazine and the Pfizer deals, right? You barely have any genitals left. But if you want to service them, Wailing Wall also acceptable.
Hell, 9/11 Memorial. Why not? You know, be patriotic.
Freedom Tower.
You know, it's just past. Real shame nobody was out there butt booty naked down in the water. You know.
Right.
Exactly.
This guy gets it. This guy gets it. Every once in a while, we get a prophet here. It would seem. This guy's it. You know, he's next level. Nobody knows more about America than this guy. Great guy.
Great guy.
All right, let's get to some. You got anything else before you move on here? I'm gonna check out of here soon, but come back, man. Hang around. You know.
Yeah.
Look it all in. Take it all in.
I'd love to come back someday. All right. Well, I'm gonna get moving.
All right. What was your name again?
My name's Ian.
Ian. Great guy. Great name.
Great guy. Great guy. Great guy. Knows his taste. Knows his
Right.
taste.
Are you one of the chosen people? I don't want to go too deep here, but Ian, are you one of the?
I don't know. I don't fucking know what the
Like Spiegel, you know? Are you one of the? All right. You know what? We won't continue.
All right. Peace out.
All right. We'll see you later. Amazing guy. Great guy. No denying it. He knows more about Israel than anyone. And we're gonna have Gaza soon, by the way. We're just gonna have it. Okay. Don't ask too much about that. How that works. Okay. Let's get serious here. Let's get refocused. Okay, let's go. I'm looking over my options here. I'm picking and choosing. Oh, that's right. I got to go to Oracle. They're going to keep everyone safe.
The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
When you come to government and what government's doing, there are artificial intelligence tools, and some of them I know that Oracle have developed around financial management for government. But also, tell us a bit about because you're right at the forefront of this revolution, what it means for what government should do in terms of its digital infrastructure, digital ID, data centers, and so on.
How do you take advantage of these incredible AI models? And the first thing a country needs to do is to unify all of their data so it can be consumed and used by the AI model. You have to take all of your healthcare data, your diagnostic data, your electronic health records, your genomic.
All right, I got to stop this because we got a serious comment we got to address in chat, and I'll get back to it. Suspicious skepticism says, and this is how I get disappointed because a lot of you folks, I want to believe you're real Americans, and then you come here and you tell me you jack off with your eyes closed. What kind of weak, un-American shit is that? Guy jacks off like one of the Amish people. You're not a real American, sir. Imagine this, masturbating with your eyes closed, imagining things. The only thing that this guy has an imagination for. You know what? I'm not going to continue. I don't want to insult this guy, but seriously, get it together, bub.
Genomic data. And in the Middle East, in the UAE, for example, they
jacks off like he's in a Disney movie. The fuck is that?
They have a lot of population data. The NHS in the UK has an incredible amount of population data, but it's fragmented. It's not easily accessible by these AI models. We have to take all of this data we have in our country and move it into a single, if you will, unified data platform. So we provide context. When we want to ask a question, we've provided that AI model with all the data they need to understand our country. So that's the big step. That's kind of the missing link. We need to unify all of the national data, put it into a database where it's easily consumable by the AI model, and then ask whatever question you like.
So you're really, through the use of this, you're revolutionizing the way government works, right? The services it provides, the way that it operates. What about things like financial management, procurement? How can AI help a government operate more efficiently, more effectively, give a more direct and better service to the citizen?
Well, we have these modern financial systems. So, countries can, and all, for example, the AI system will help you do that. But again, the secret is to get all of that data in one place. Without having the basic data, it cannot answer the question about your country. I think countries are very uncomfortable with keeping their data in other countries' data centers. So I think part of our essential infrastructure, just like airports obviously need to be in our country, or they're not terribly useful. Ports need to be in our country, and they're not terribly useful. Data centers, because of the privacy requirements around the data, need to be in our countries, or they're not terribly useful. They need to be in our countries, but they also need to be secure. And there are new technologies right now. This is the last year you will ever log on to an Oracle system with a password.
All right, I'm done. I think you don't even need to listen to what he's saying. You can just feel the energy of the snake in the garden, and you know where this is going. So it's pretty simple stuff, right? Aaron, you got anything final? I'm going to let you go. Maybe hit a couple more, and then I'm going to get the hell out of here. I'm clearing house.
All right. Thanks for having me up. Everybody
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
I look forward to seeing how everything happens. We'll talk more privately. We'll see where that goes, and we'll report back here.
All right. Sounds good. See you guys.
Sir. All righty then. I kind of want to play Bill Gates when he talks about turning everyone into a microchip with the vaxes along with this woman, but maybe we save that for next time. Yeah, we'll save that for next time. All right, I'm getting the hell out of here. I appreciate you. Thank you to the contributors and supporters, audience as well. If not, it would just be me talking at a screen, and I'm pretty sure ICE or some other accredited agency would show up to drag me off, and well, they should. So this broadcast is pretty much nothing without you. You know, there's God of all media, and then there's you folks, and that's what makes it work. So blessings to all. If you got videos, audio, clips, there's email up top. You got to sit with it, let it scroll. You'll see the email at some point. Contribute, support in that way. Send in some clips, right? Message me, email me some stuff. If you make songs or videos, if you got a story to tell, send it all in. I'll sift through it. I'll present it or not. Most of the stuff I do present though. So yeah, I think we're pretty much good to go. Back who knows when, hopefully faithfully within the 4-day mark. If it's a bit longer than that, I will let you guys know. I still have been having pains at times and not necessarily wanting to come on, but I feel obligated to. I feel somewhat inspired and obligated to be here with you folks and do what I do. All right. There's not much that I do in life and do well, arguably, presuming that you believe I do this broadcast well at all. But yeah, we're here for it. So let's see. On the way out, we got on the way out Paul Unfuckwittable from Gorilla Gems, a national treasure, great American. Gorilla Gems is, and a fan favorite at this point, Mr. Tanawa, the legal beagle who shows up to court in a suit with a whole bunch of petitions and begs to have the law and rights upheld, even though he doesn't apparently, based on this clip, know what rights are. You go figure that out. I'm gonna go eat something and masturbate to the American flag, I guess, or something. I'm somebody who I've not complied. I've not cooperated. I've been arrested over and over again, right? I've had to go to court without an attorney, with no credentials, and stand on what I believe to be the word of God and the truth. And I've gotten results. Tends to be when I meet people who talk about this what I consider to be false ideology of patriotism they've been uploaded with. Usually these are the same folks who tell me we're very courageous, we want to save the children, we're going to be idols and heroes, but they're not willing to sacrifice and go to jail and be activists and potentially have to sacrifice and give everything up to be given everything back. You all live in a matrix reality world where law comes from a contract, social contract. As far as I perceive it, God makes law, and the contract is a trust in God. That's why it's in God we trust. law is not the same as statute, policy, and code, and law doesn't come about because we made some social pact and agreement. See, this is precisely my point. This clarifies the fundamental difference between us. And these folks are within an illusion, within an illusion, within an illusion, and can't recognize the illusion of self and creation for what it is, because it seems too far out and too crazy to them to be real.
We need to give up certain rights for the greater good of the whole, because that's what a communal society does. That's what the Constitution is. We give up certain rights in order to be able to live peacefully amongst a communal society.
So he can't even fundamentally determine what a right is, just in the sense of right action, right? If there's rights, then there's wrongs. So in his world, not having a connection to God / conscience locally, that's a good term for the clinical folks, conscience, him and others being conscienceless beings have to always refer to paperwork and don't know the difference objectively between right and wrong. And that's why they can't figure out what God is or have the experience of God or be trusting with equity and faith, right? They don't know common sense. They don't know the common law, because they think law comes from us all sitting around together and making agreements that we had a right yesterday to kill and rape, but today we're going to give up that right. Because in this new society, raping and killing is not wrong. It's either right or it's wrong. It's either true or it's false. Us laying eyes on it doesn't necessarily, or agreeing to it, change what is. And this is the fundamental difference between us. I work with what is, even if it can't be shown, right? And I talk to cause and effect, and I reverse engineer that. And this is why I can't debate with or get through to these folks who can't consider this idea of a godly experience or a universal order.
You must give up certain rights, your right to kill, or your right to assault, or your right to steal, or your assault, or your right to rape.
He did even more. See, they say I lie and I bullshit here. I only said 2. He gave 5 examples of wrong behaviors he thinks we naturally have a right to do.
Daddy's home. Daddy's here. It's okay.
Selling freedom for a fee. Pockets lined with promises that never set you free. Touchdown position, head low, comply. But truth don't live where falsehoods lie. A trifold solution for a problem you make. Teaching how to bow while the real ones don't break. What you sell ain't freedom, just a cage you choose. Making you a better pawn in a game you'll lose. Lost scholar, what's the price of your word? Speaking in circles, yo, your truth is blurred. No roots, no honor, no ground to stand on. Your paper throne crumbles in the palm of your hand. Delete the laws, yo, put the laws in the land. Or not in codes or controls that you can't understand. Teaching folks how to bow, yeah, making good holes. But every pimp knows how the same game goes. Chant PLQI, you think vengeance will save, but you dishonor the truth and you dig your own grave. The trifold shield won't cover the fool. Nah, you fools who sell hate just keep feeding the fuel. Lost scholar, what's the price of your word? Speaking in circles, yo, your truth is blurred. No roots, no honor, no ground to stand. Your paper throne crumbles in the palm of your hand. The wise don't kneel, they don't break or bend. Yeah, they walk in the truth where your lies don't stand. No scripts in their pocket, no pose to assume. Yo, your words are a joke, delete flaws and read the room. What's freedom to a man that peddles a scam? Who speaks no truth and hides behind another man? The scholar's just a shadow, yeah, ghost in disguise. Of those who walk steady, yo, see through the lies. The truth don't fold, nah, it don't fit in the trifold. It's carried in the heart, not in stories retold. Yo, you teach the pose, but you're lost in the fight. Claiming you know, but you're just trapped in the night. Yo, you say do this, do that, and you'll be free. But you're just getting pimped, yeah, you just don't see. Codes can't bind the ones who won't play. The grift loses power when the truth finds its way. Lost scholar, what's the price of your word? Speaking in circles, yo, your truth is absurd. No roots, no honor, no ground to stand. Your paper throne crumbles in the palm of your hand. Yo, so fold your trifold, take your seat. The game you're playing is a game of defeat. The law stands strong where you can't pretend. What's built on lies, we're only breaking the end. No touchdown poses, no gimmicks to sell. Yeah, the ones who know the walk steady and well. Lost scholar, you know your lessons undone. You're just a pile of wet rags drying out in the sun.
God damn it, Paul.